a very good morning. Welcome to Shop on TV. I'm Hayley Green.
And I'm Sean Crawley.
Together we've got a show that I think everybody should watch, because I don't think we realise how important it is to write a legally binding will. And actually, if you haven't written a will, did you know you've already got one?
Yeah, there's a government will that falls into place if you don't have your own written, legally binding will. And we're working directly today with Simpler Law, real specialists in the field when it comes to estate planning, but not just wills we're going to be talking about. We're also going to be talking about lasting power of attorney for you.
Yeah, which is something, again, that is really important, which you've probably heard of, but not quite sure what it means. So please, it's a show you must watch, because there are so many reasons to join us today to understand how important it is to have a will and lasting power of attorney, but also to get these incredible deals. We've got a new year offer, and the first time we've had these incredible prices of 20% off our normal price. So you can see here, normally our price would be for a will, and I thought it'd be, you know, thousands of pounds. I thought writing a will would be really expensive. So at full price at £249, that is a great price, and our regular price £124. But when we do a show special, and this is our new year show special, 20% off, taking it down to get a legally written will for £99. But then you can split that cost over 4 payments, making it so affordable. £24.75 is the first of those 4 payments. And I bet you spend more than that on your coffee a week, probably.
Yeah, definitely. When we talk about lasting power of attorney, and as Hayley said, we'll explain what that is if you're not quite sure. The usual price, the suggested retail price of £349, well, it comes down on our offer price to £239, but with an extra 20% off, it comes down to £189. And with those 4 interest-free payments, just £47.25 on your first of 4 payments there.
Now, you might go for one or the other, but then as you watch the show, you might think, well, actually, I wish I'd asked about will and lasting power of attorney. We've got a great deal there. As long as you get in contact tonight and secure these prices, you can secure every single price and then decide which option you're going for. The will and lasting power of attorney, normally, as you can see there, £598. Our regular Shop on TV price goes down to £315, but your price right now, up until the close of business on Friday, is £249. You split that cost, of course, with those 4 payments, making it £62.25. So you're saving there £349. The first 250 people get a fabulous book, which we will talk you through the show as well. A real extra, but it's only for the first 250 people, and you just need to get in contact before the close of business on Friday.
And you're going directly to Simpler Law tonight, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV. You can call the number, and the team are there. The team are there right through till 3 a.m. 0333 600 2600, or the easiest way is to text the word will to 66777.
You don't have to speak to anybody, just text will to that number, and you know you've secured those prices, and they'll get back to you a little bit later on today or in the next couple of days. Such an important show for you to watch, because I don't think we realise how important it is to have written a will, a legally binding will. Because sadly, if you haven't written a will, did you know that somebody else has written one for you?
There is a government will out there that falls into place if you don't have your own, as Hayley said, legally binding will.
And it doesn't work for anybody. We've been together 30, it might be longer now, 34, 35 years.
Even
we'll have to
more
work
now,
it out again, because another year has gone. But sadly, the government will wouldn't care, because we're not married. So if one of us passed, even though all of our family know what's mine is Sean's, what's Sean is mine, that is not what would happen, because the government will would fall into place. But actually, it doesn't work if you're married, if you're married with children from different families. The government will, one will can't work for all, and what you want to happen isn't going to happen. So please do stay with us to learn more, and also to learn about lasting power of attorney.
Yeah, if you've heard of the term lasting power of attorney, but you're not quite sure what it means, we're going to explain as we go through the show, and explain why it's so important to have lasting power of attorney as well. We've got exclusive offers that we're working directly with Simpler Law, who are experts in the field when it it comes to estate planning. These are the offers we've got, and we've never done 20% off before.
No, it is a special. It's a New Year's special. The first time we've done that extra 20% off, and it blows me away because I think one of the things we never have time to do a will. It's something you just put to one side. But I thought it would be really expensive, and even at full price, £249 worth every single penny to know what you wanted to happen is going to happen when you pass. However, we always have a show special, and you can see that normally £124. You've got an extra 20% off for the New Year's offer, so you can see there £99 is your price. And on top of that, you're securing these prices tonight. You can split that cost into those 4 payments. So £24.75 is the first of those 4 payments. I want you to think about what you spend just on cups of coffee.
Takeaway coffees a week,
They're so expensive.
Yeah.
I bet you spend more than that a week. And that you've got splitting into 4 payments, making it so affordable to get a legally binding, properly written will.
With experts, that's the other great thing. Now, the lasting power of attorney it should be a suggested retail price of £349. Our offer price is usually £239, but we're going to bring that down again. With that extra 20% off, it comes down to £189. And that, split across 4 interest-free payments, is just £47.25 on your first of 4 payments. The biggest saving of all, though, is the combination. If you want to go for a will and lasting power of attorney, that's where the biggest saving is.
Well, you're saving more than you're spending. Normal price £598, our regular price £315. You've got that 20% off, so £249 is your price today. But of course, securing those deals allows you as well to split that cost, so £62.25 is the first of those 4 payments. Now, if you get in contact and secure the deal tonight and you think, well, I'm just going to do the will, and perhaps you speak to someone, say, I'm doing the will, and then you decide after you've listened to lasting power of attorney, I wish I'd done both, as long as you get in contact in some way this evening or this morning, you will secure all those prices. So if you change your mind and you want to go for both, you can. But remember, though these deals are till the close of business on Friday, it's the first 250 people that actually get this book.
Yeah, this is great. This is what my family should know, this book's called. And in here, you can record all your information. So it's all in one place. When someone passes away, sadly, you can't find all and everything, can you? In here, you can record things like your assets, your pensions, but also things like your digital accounts as well, your passwords, your funeral plans, everything in that one place for you. The first 250 people will get that book when they sign up with Simpler Law.
I've always said you should have that from birth, but that's probably a bit too early. But from working life, I think that book is so important. Just recently on sort of our local village sort of Facebook page, someone put on, you know, there's someone had passed in the family, and then they put, can I just say, please, you must write a will. She'd lost 3 people in her family, and they hadn't written wills, and nobody had left what they wanted to happen in their funeral either, and she was just finding it all so difficult. So in that book, of course, you put everything
put that in there as well
about your funeral too, just to really help people out. You're doing this really for your family, for your loved ones.
Yeah.
Now, it's so easy to get in contact, and that's all you're doing this morning, is getting in contact and securing the deals, and then Simpler Law will sort out a time that's convenient for you to really sit down and talk about your will or lasting power of attorney. You can either go via the website, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV, or the team are in the office right now.
Yeah, the team are there right through till 3 a.m. 0333 600 2600 is the phone number. You can call, and all you're doing today is securing the deals.
You don't need any information.
Don't need any
to find any
documents with
pieces
you.
of paper.
Yeah.
All you need to know is that you want to do a will or a lasting power of attorney. And then the easiest option, if you don't want to talk to anybody, if you're like us when we're at home and you don't want to answer the door, you don't want to answer the phone, just text the word will to 66777. It's done. You've actually secured all of those prices by just texting that word will. That's the simplest way, and it's always super busy. And then the team will get back to you later on today or later on in the week to make sure you can sort out a date that's convenient. Even if you're going away in the next few days, but on holiday for a couple of weeks, they'll secure a date that's suitable for you to sit down and talk about everything.
The other way to get in touch, if you're used to using our website, you can go to our website, shopontv.co.uk, scroll down that homepage, and you will come to our on-screen partners. Keep going, there they are. And then when you see the Simpler Law logo, just click on there and it'll take you through to those exclusive offers we've talked about. There's a form you can fill in that's really simple, really straightforward, and there you are, you've secured those offers that we've been talking about.
I'm rubbish at forms, but that's really easy. You can't go wrong with that, so please do not miss out on that. It's really great to have your company this morning, and I really do think you've switched on just at the right time. It's the right time to make sure that you get that will sorted, because the government will that will fall into place if you haven't written a will is not a will right for anybody. How can one will be right for everybody in the country?
Yeah, that's the whole point. We'll explain as we go through the show why it's so important, and exactly that, the government will that Hayley's talking about.
You work so hard for what you own, and whether that's your house, property, whether it's your pets, whatever it is that you love, that you want to pass on to loved ones, make sure you write it down legally in a will, and we'll, as we say, we'll talk you through all of that throughout the show.
But we're not alone, we said. We've got experts with us from Simpler Law to join us and talk us through everything, whether it's wills or lasting power of attorney. Ian and Emma are with us once again.
Hello,
Lovely to have you
happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yeah.
Another year already, can you believe it? Oh,
2 weeks in, it's flying.
Yeah,
Frightening,
it's nearly over. Now, the guys join us to explain why it's so important. And Ian, it is important for everyone to have a will, isn't it?
It's as you said at the top of the show, there's not a lot of information readily available about it. A lot of people think, oh, I should make a will, but there isn't necessarily that urgency there. And there isn't information that's readily available to people to let them know what happens if they don't make a will. And that's when, and it's not too melodramatic to say, that's when tragedy can strike at an already really terrible time, because this default position, this government will, doesn't care about any one of us. It is literally just a backup. The question is always asked of someone when they've passed away, did they make their own will? And if the answer is no, which sadly is a lot of the time, it's like, right, OK, you get the rules of intestacy, you get the government will, and it's just a means, it's a legal way of making sure that person's estate gets distributed. And unfortunately, because it doesn't care about you or your family, like you said, you've been together for 35 years.
It might be 35 now or another year.
Many decades you've been together. But in all seriousness, the government will doesn't care about that.
No.
There's no such thing as common law husband and wife. You're either married or in a civil partnership or you're not.
And that's a real misconception that people have. In fact, I was watching one of the daytime TV shows today, and they were talking about that, and half of the panel thought it was a thing and the other half didn't. But it's not a thing,
It's not, is it?
And no, and it comes as a surprise and it's a shock, because like you say, everyone in your circle knows that you're a couple. What's yours is Sean's, what's Sean's is Hayley's, etc., etc. But then what happens, sadly, when one of you passes away, you obviously know better now, but what happens, someone passes away and then they realise, actually, they're not entitled to anything as an unmarried couple.
No.
And everyone's going, no, that can't be right, I don't believe that. And you get met with resistance because people go, no, that's not right, but I promise you that is right. And that's why it's so important to make your own will, to remove yourself from the government will and make sure that your last act on planet Earth is your own.
Yeah, and even if you are married, it's still not right, is it, that government will?
Well, again, it still doesn't care about you, and there are certain limitations on what your spouse can get as well with regards to what figures they can get. If your estate's worth more than £322,000, for example, then your spouse isn't getting everything from you automatically. And again, people understandably assume, well, if I pass away, my wife gets everything, or if my wife passes away, I get everything. And again, that's not the case. But worse than that, it's not unusual in today's society to meet people that are on a second marriage, that might have children from previous relationships, might even have children together. And again, the rules of intestacy can't cope with that blended family, because it's all designed around your marital status and your individual bloodline. So it's really easy for children to be disinherited and left out when that isn't the intention of the parents. So that's why we do these shows. We don't want to lecture people, but we want to say, listen, there's a lot going on that unless you take your time to look into, we don't expect you to know. But what we want you to realise after watching this show is you need a will, even if it is just to get you away from the government will.
Yeah.
But there's so much more that your own will can do than the government will, as we're about to find out.
A will can do so much, can't it, Emma?
Oh, absolutely. You can do things like, you know, choose guardians for your children, and obviously I think that's truly important, you know.
Of course, it's one of the most important things if you've got children, isn't it?
At least just make a will for them, for peace of mind, that you know that they're going to go to the right place.
Because if the absolute worst happened and you lost both parents, there could be a big family fight, couldn't there, who has the children, and it might not be the person that you wanted.
Yeah, and what a situation to put your children in as well, you know, when they're grieving. That's right, or worst case, they could go into, you know, the foster system. That would be awful as well. But also you can decide, you know, who's going to inherit your own executors. You cannot do that with the rule of intestacy either. You can choose, you can leave specific gifts. You can actually specify, as you said earlier, your funeral wishes and things like that.
Which I think lots of us find really difficult to talk about, and that can be written down in your will. I love the fact as well, which we'd never thought about this, what age children inherit.
Yeah.
Because automatically they'd inherit...
At 18.
And we all know what we were like at 18.
Very sensible, I was.
Of course you were. I can imagine it now.
Yes, I can.
If I'd have come into any kind of money, I would have made some really, really sensible decisions that would have been sensibly invested.
I think most of us would be the same. So you could say, well, actually, I don't want the kids to have it until they're 21 or...
Yeah, you could go 21, 23,
or
25, or you could just, you know, you could drip feed it to them.
You could stagger it if you
could stagger it, absolutely. It's your choice, and that's the great thing about making your own will. It's your choice.
And pets are a really big thing as well, aren't they?
I know, that's it, because obviously, you know, some people just cannot have children, so they have their pets, they are their babies.
They are their children.
So where are they going to go after you?
Trust me, some people have got children, their pets are still the favourite.
Certainly is with mine,
So you could leave your pet to a relative or something, and then also leave them some money to look after the pet.
You can indeed,
a charity. Or...
Yeah, you know then they're going to be, just like your children, like my dog's my child, they're going to be well looked after then at the same time.
I think the key is, the whole point, we keep using the word you choose, and it's really the words you choose, and it's important to sort of latch on to that, because you don't get to choose anything unless you make your will. And again, that's why we do these shows. We want to reach as many people as we can and say, look, if you've been thinking about it, this is an opportunity. Tonight, right now, is an opportunity to actually do something. New year, new start. Get it in place now, because this is one of those things as well. You will never regret doing it, and there's no risk to doing it. If, as you're going through this process with us, you think, do you know what, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, this is not for me, just say, I'm not going to carry on, I'll have my money back, please, and we'll give you your money back. That's how confident we are that it's right for you.
So you've got absolutely nothing to lose, but so much to gain, to have that will legally written, so you know what you've worked so hard for is going to go to the loved ones that you want it to go to. Perhaps there's people in the family you don't want things to go to, and remember, if you haven't written a will, you have got that government will that will fall into place, and we've got incredible prices, but do it now. I know you've got these deals until Friday at close of business, but please get in contact now, because we do tend to forget, don't we? We're already the second week into January. How did that happen?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll get past next weekend, you'll think, oh, I didn't get in touch, I've lost out on the prices. So do it right now so you know you've secured these deals. These are your deals. We'll look at them just really quickly, and then we'll just go into a little bit of detail about lasting power of attorney.
If you want to write a will, a family estate and will, well, the suggested retail price of $249, I think, is a great price. However, our offer price comes down to $124, but for the first time, as we were saying, we've got 20% off for our New Year offer. So now's the time to do it. It's less than £100. That comes down to $24.75 on your first of 4 interest-free payments. If you want to spread the cost with Simpler Law, they will spread the cost for you directly. So it's such a great time to do it, isn't it?
It really is. Lasting power of attorney, we're going to go a little bit of detail about that now. Should be £349. Our regular price, you can see there, should be £239, but you have got that 20% off, taking it down to £189. Splitting that over 4 payments, so £47.25 is your price there. And then if you do decide, and you might decide during the show, and you might have got in contact and said, well, I want to do my will, and then as you're watching the show thinking, I wish I'd added in lasting power of attorney, as long as you secure these prices today, you will get whatever deal you want to go for. So if you decide to go for will and lasting power of attorney, you're saving more than you're spending today. Should be $598. Our regular price $315, but actually right now you've got it another 20% off, so £249 is your price, and split that cost over 4 payments. $62.25 is the first of those 4 payments. And don't forget, the first 250 people, another reason to do it right now is you will get that fabulous book, which we'll go into a little bit more detail about that as well. That's worth £25, but that's only for the first 250.
We do just want to cover quickly and explain to you if you're not quite sure what a lasting power of attorney is. So we'll go back to the team. And Emma, for anyone who's out there who's heard lasting power of attorney but they're not quite sure what it means, what is it?
So it's a document that you would basically put in place. So if you was to lose mental capacity through maybe an illness or an accident, you would put this document in place. It's very, it's a really important document. So
and it has to be in place before that happens.
It does, yeah. Before you lose capacity, you need to put it in place. So you are classed as a donor on the document, and you choose somebody that you trust to be your attorney or attorneys. You can have more than one. And this gives them the opportunity to manage your finances or your health and welfare, because there's two different sorts.
What we're looking at right now is property and affairs, like you're talking about. So it's anything financial, isn't it?
So you'll be able to then continue to deal with utilities, like day-to-day running of any finances, so your banks, claim pensions, benefits, anything like that.
Because all those things carry on happening, don't they?
Of
And
course
if someone's poorly,
you
feel like, I feel like if it was my mum, I could step into her shoes and I could sort all that out, but legally...
You cannot.
I can't.
No.
And when you think about it, I couldn't go into a bank now and sort her money out. Because
Are you the account holder? Is the question you always ask.
Yeah.
And it stops there, doesn't
I had to ring about her phone today and they wouldn't speak to me. They needed to speak to mum. So yeah.
No, you wouldn't be able to manage anything. I mean, I couldn't go into my husband's bank account now while he's got capacity, could I? And ask to get money out. So it's all about the account holder.
And there is a health and welfare lasting power of attorney as well, which I think is just as important.
I think it is, and this one's quite dear to me. I've seen, how it can go wrong if you don't have this in place. So with this one, you can then decide, where your loved one's going to live, what sort of care they're going to receive, medical treatments, just down to the day-to-day, like things like what they're going to wear, what they're going to eat.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important, because you don't want them to lose their identity or their personality, do you?
All those personal things.
My friend was in a terrible accident and she was vegetarian. She had a real certain way that she loved to dress. She liked to wear her makeup. My Auntie Cora always liked her nails polished. So if they went into a home and then those things didn't happen, you'd be devastated.
Again, you're taking their personality away.
They always seem quite trivial, and sometimes they're difficult for people to get their head around the lasting power of attorney. But if you speak to anyone that's had an experience of a loved one that's been incapacitated, and that person hasn't had the lasting power of attorney, they wish they could rewind the clock and put it in place, because the journey otherwise is even more complicated than it needs to be at a really difficult time already.
Well, then if you haven't got it, then you have to go through the courts to...
Yeah, there's only one other route, and that's very expensive and very time-consuming. But the thing is, your energy then is being spent dealing with the legal system rather than with your loved one.
Your loved one.
Yeah. A lasting power of attorneys, I call it a what-if document.
Yeah.
It's not an insurance policy, but what if life throws you a curveball? What if you are incapacitated through illness or through an accident? We're all living longer. Alzheimer's is very prevalent now, so we're all aware of things like that. And it's just a document that you can put in place today, because no one else can do it for you, and then kind of forget about it. And in the nicest possible way, hope your family never need to use it. A will's very different. There's kind of a guarantee with a will. One day we're going to shuffle off the mortal coil. We know a will's going to be used. With a lasting power of attorney, you want to have that in place, and then fingers crossed, hope that you never need to use it. And we're strange as human beings, because we protect lots of things apart from ourselves.
We insure so many things apart from ourselves. And funnily enough, we met Simpler Law because we did my mum's lasting power of attorney with Simpler Law before they joined us here on Shop on TV, and it was just that peace of mind that it's all done, forgotten about it now, but if we ever need it, we know it's there.
And you don't have to worry about it. It's such a simple process.
Yes.
It's a hand-holding
Me and Mum, the biggest worriers, you don't need to know anything. Simpler Law, they sit down and it's like a conversation like we're having today, and they truly get all of the answers out of you. And remember, not only have you got the great knowledge of Simpler Law, you've got those fantastic prices, and it's so easy to get in contact with us.
Yeah, you're going directly to Simpler Law tonight, because they're going to give you these exclusive offers that we're going to talk about when it comes to wills and lasting power of attorney. So if you want to go to the Simpler Law website, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV, and that will take you to the exclusive offers that we've got for you. However, if you do want to go to the call centre, The team are there right through till 3 a.m. So 0333 600 2600. And you don't need any documentation. It's just a case of securing the offers that we talk
So
about.
all you're doing today, securing the offers before close of business on Friday. Best to do it right now. And the easiest way to do it, because you'll forget, we're 2 weeks into January. How's that happened? Or is it 3 now? I don't know. The time just seems to fly. Text the word WILL, that's WILL, to 66777. That's it. You've done it. You've secured the prices. And even if perhaps you're going away for a few days or going on holiday for a week or so, don't panic. Simple Law, get back in touch and they'll sort out a day that's convenient to sit down and chat. And it is just to sit down and chat. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to find anything. Simple Law make it all so easy.
Yeah, you're just securing the offers that we talked about, whether it's wills, lasting power of attorney, or whether you want to combine the two together. We've got exclusive offers, new offers for the new year with 20% off our offer price. So it's even better. First time we've done 20% off. So you can see with the will itself, £249 is the suggested retail price. However, the normal shop on TV price comes down to £124, and with our special offer, another 20%, it comes down to less than £100. So £24.75 on your first of 4 interest-free payments.
I thought it'd be so expensive to do. At the full price, it's worth every single penny. Because sadly, if you don't write a legally binding will, there is a government will that will fall into place, and you will kick yourself that you didn't write the will yourself, because it won't be what you want to happen. Now, lasting power of attorney, we'll go into detail about that throughout the show as well. That should be £349. Our regular shop on TV price, £239. But you have got your New Year's special of that extra 20% off, down to £189. And, of course, you can split that cost as well over those 4 payments. So £47.25. And just think what you spend on coffee a week, what you spend on takeaways a week. This is money well spent, that peace of mind. You're doing this very much for your loved ones and for your family. Now, if you decide during the morning and you've already got in contact and secured the will deal, and then you think, oh, gosh, I wish I'd done will and lasting power of attorney, that's fine. As long as you secure the prices tonight, you secure all those prices. And if you want to go for the joint deal, that's the biggest saving.
Yeah, the suggested retail price of the combination should be just shy of £600. Our offer price was going to be $315, but with the extra 20% off, it comes down to $249. With those 4 interest-free payments, that means it's $62.25 on your first of 4 interest-free payments for the 2. You'll also see on there the first 250 clients will also receive the free book that's worth £25. It's called What My Family Should Know. Basically, that book, in that book, you can record all and everything in here.
It's all the things you'd be hunting for, and it used to be that you'd be hunting for the secret box, wouldn't you? My mum's got secret places all over the place, but now life is a little bit more complicated. So it's digital things. It's getting onto emails perhaps, or even finding photos on a loved one's phone or tablet, because the photos, you know, they're on that tablet, photos you want to keep, but you don't know the password. All that information is written in there. You can even put your funeral wishes in there as well, and it just gives you that peace of mind that you've left all the information for your loved one. And that book is so popular. The first 250 people get that secure the deals. But we also get so many people wanting to buy it. So don't do that. Get it now, get in touch, secure the price, and you'll get that book as a complimentary gift, which is fabulous.
You can also go through our website if you so wish, shopontv.co.uk. When you go to our website, just go to the homepage, scroll down, click on the logo, and it'll take you through to those exclusive offers.
So there's loads of ways to get in contact, and just do it. Though we say the deal's until close of business on Friday, do it now, because we do tend to forget, don't we, about things and miss out on those weekends away because they've gone up £600. Or that flight.
Here we go.
Because it had gone, or that cruise that we missed out, or that holiday in Mexico.
All right, let's leave that there.
Because you just left it to don't do it.
There's an insinuation it's just one of someone's fault. Right.
Not me.
Life gets in the way.
It does.
Life gets in the way
It's
of things
so true.
that you want to do, so life definitely gets in the way of things that you should do.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about it, do it now, because you won't regret doing it, but someone in your family might regret that you didn't. That's the importance of seeing the show tonight.
And you are very much doing it for your family. Writing a will, oh gosh, I don't think anybody realises, we didn't realise, and I don't think that you perhaps will realise at home, that if you haven't actually written your own legally binding will, we have got a will, haven't we? There is a will that will automatically fall into place. And it's one will for absolutely everybody.
Just one set of rules, yeah. For every single person that passes away without making their own will, you're said to have died intestate, and there's a set of government rules. There are a series of questions asked about the person that's passed away, and these rules were originally created in 1925. They exist because if they didn't, there'd be anarchy. How would anyone know what to do?
Yeah, you automatically think, well, that can't be right, but then there's got to be something, hasn't there?
So there's it's literally a default position, and that's the question that's asked when someone's passed away is, did they have their own valid will? If yes, great. Then their last act on planet Earth is going to be theirs. They're going to detail what they want. It's going to be tailored. It's going to be bespoke to them. If the answer was no, they didn't have their own will, sadly, that's when you've died intestate, and the government say, right, this is how your estate should be distributed.
And that's what we're looking at right here.
And it's just a series of yes/no questions.
Yeah, and what you're seeing on the screen, there's a bit of an oversimplification, but you see the first question right at the top there. It asks the question, are you married or in a civil partnership? That's asking the question of the person that's passed away. It's not asking whether you're in love. It's not asking whether you're living with someone. It's not asking whether you're cohabitating or, like you guys that have been together for decades. Let's just say decades.
Decades is good.
Many decades.
Well, it doesn't sound good, but yeah, we'll go with that.
But in all seriousness, they're all a series of yes or no questions. There's no ambiguity. There's no grey areas. It's literally yes or no questions that ultimately leads to the destination of everything you've worked hard for. And there's literally hundreds of stories that we can tell you about someone passing away, dying intestate, and it ended up where everyone knows that's not where they would have wanted it to go.
Of course.
And that's why it's so important. Making a will is incredibly selfless because you're doing it for the people that you leave behind. But actually, when you go through the process, and you can only know this if you get in touch with us and allow us to take you through that process, when you're going through that process, you'll find it quite cathartic. You won't find it depressing.
No.
You won't find it sad, interesting, because sometimes people say, what do you do for a living? I say, I'm a will writer, and they go, oh, I'm sorry about that. I don't know if they're just saying sorry because of my general demeanour, but I think they hear the word will and assume it's quite morbid or down.
No, not really.
Quite
you know what, some of the clients have a real laugh about it.
Well, some of the
they
reviews
enjoy
we
it.
read, people say they actually, you say it's quite cathartic, and it's a weight off your shoulders once you've done it.
Well, sometimes you will find out something you couldn't have possibly known.
Yeah.
You know, we specialise in this area. We don't do anything else. You wouldn't come to us for like a divorce or a boundary dispute or a personal injury claim. But this area of the law, if you want to protect everything that you've worked hard for and you want to make sure it's going to end up where you want it to go, that's what we do day in, day out. So that's all we specialise in. So there's never been a scenario where we can't help. Because sometimes people are like, oh, my situation's too complicated. Give us a call and let us tell you, or let us be the judge of that, because I promise you, we can probably help you.
Yeah.
It's very rare that we have to turn around to a client and say, I'm sorry, we can't help you. And I can't think of an instance where we've done
We
that.
had friends that was exactly like that. Because we've become, when we sit down, with friends and chat, and like, oh, we did simple law the other night, and oh, we must write our will. And you're like, you haven't written a will. You must write a will. And we're like that to everybody.
Yeah.
And they hadn't written a will. It's really complicated. And we were like, you've got to get in touch with simpler law. Because obviously they really have, I should say, over the years, seen absolutely all and everything. But I don't think anybody realises that if that will hasn't been written legally with somebody like simpler law, the will that falls in place...
So much can go wrong, can't it?
Could split families, couldn't it? Split families apart, because families can... You've perhaps told your family what you want to happen, but that sadly won't happen, even if the whole family knows. And especially it's so complicated if you're married with children from different relationships.
Absolutely.
You might be living as one big family, but sadly, again, the government won't see that.
It's awful because, if anyone's been through a bereavement, you know how that can affect, and everyone deals with that differently. But a bereavement's an awful time anyway. You've lost someone that you love, so it's already a horrible time. Having a will doesn't make it less horrible. But what it does do is it doesn't make it worse at what's already a terrible time. And it's only really when someone passes away without a will that the family then realise, hang on a minute, what do you mean that it isn't going to the partner? Or what do you mean that their son's inheriting? They made it clear that they didn't want the son to have anything. They told the family that. But the only way to do these things, the only way to ensure that what you want to happen happens is to make your own will. And the example of, you know, blended families is absolutely spot on. Forgive the finger puppets, but if you're on a second marriage, for example, you've got children from previous relationships, let's say Mr. passes away first, he gets hit on the head by a meteorite, so he passes away sadly, and let's say everything does pass to his spouse, that's great, that's probably what they both would want to happen. It's when Mrs. then passes away, and if there's been no will made, it follows her bloodline only and goes down to her children. So his children miss out altogether. And sometimes people will say, well, that's okay, because I'm sure our kids would sort it out between themselves. But that's a lot of pressure to put on them, again, at a time when emotions aren't normal, they're not regulated because you're bereaved. And sometimes, truthfully, our experience is it isn't your children that are sometimes the problem, because you might have a daughter that's inherited and wants to share something with a stepsister, if you like, but her husband's having none of it.
Yes.
Oh, God.
And it gets very... And all of this can be fixed, and that's not us casting aspersions. We're all adult enough to know that you throw emotion into the mix and money, and things can go very wrong. And unfortunately, with the rules of intestacy, the one thing that we can guarantee is it won't be your will, so it won't care about your family makeup, and that's why it can go really wrong. And that's why we do these shows, not to scare people, but to say, listen, please, if you've been thinking about making a will, don't underestimate just what a huge thing that is, not just for yourself, but for your family as well. It's so selfless and it's so valuable, and you won't know how valuable until you speak to us truthfully.
And so important, I think, for everybody to write a will, even if you're single. Because I'm going to get you to tell another story, because I think this really made me think, this story. I know for us the government will wouldn't work. We've just seen there blended families, married couples, the government will won't work. But for a single gentleman, and this story really stays with me. A young gentleman, he was he in his 40s or something, and he was doing very well he was a surgeon or a doctor of some sort, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a medical professional. This was years and years ago, and it stuck with me as well. Bearing in mind what we do for a living, we've seen it, but I think it's because we heard it directly from his mum and his brother. And
you just know this isn't what he would have wanted.
You can make a very, very realistic guess that that's what he wouldn't want. We'll never know why he didn't put a will in place. That's the interesting thing. Probably because he was young, or did he not know what the outcome was going to be. So essentially, he passed away suddenly and unexpected, didn't have a will. The backstory was he'd never married, he'd never had children, and actually when he was born, his father decided to divorce his mum, basically leaving his mum to single mother, bringing up her children on her own. And the dad, for his own reasons, left the family, never to be heard from. So there's no birthday cards, there's no contact, there's nothing. So he's just not been in this person's life. So you can already guess where this is going. But unfortunately, when this young man passed away, he passed away intestate. The first question was he married in a civil partnership? The answer was no. The next question then is, did he have children? The answer was no. The next question then was, does he have parents? And the answer was yes. And obviously his mum was there, but his mum then had to, for all intents and purposes, track down her ex-husband, who had nothing to do with the bringing up of her child, and say, you're entitled to half of his estate. Now, this was met, understandably, with everyone going, no, against the people going, that's not right, it's not fair. It's got nothing to do with fairness, it's got nothing to do with right. Unfortunately, that's the law, and that's the default position. This is why it doesn't work for anybody particularly. No. Because it doesn't care about you, it's just a default position. And that seems reasonable. Oh, someone's passed away, just give it to the parents. But it can't possibly know what the backstory to that is. So again, it comes full circle to, we've got testamentary freedom in the UK, so use it. Make sure that your last act on planet Earth is yours, not a set of rules that was made over 100 years ago. Please don't miss this opportunity.
Yeah, most definitely. And we're talking about money at the moment, but with a will, there's so much more that you can put into that will.
Yeah, because you might be at home thinking, well, I haven't got a great deal, but when you think about it, you probably have. You've got your house, you've got your car, but actually, you've got so much more. And when you actually look at what you can put into a will, it's quite incredible, Emma, isn't it? It's things perhaps, and this is another reason to sit down with your team and talk through this, because it's probably things you'd never think of that you will write into your will.
No. I mean, you know, I've got children, and they are the most important thing, and I'm sure they are for a lot of people that've got children. And you would think a godparent would be,
you know,
a god, you know,
so
they would take over.
And we lost both parents, you would think the godparent takes over, but actually...
Unfortunately, that's just a religious status, unfortunately. But with your own will, you can choose guardians for your children. So people you know that are going to love and care for your children. And I think just to write a will, just for that peace of mind is just, you know, definitely needs to be done. But you can do so much more. So you can then decide as well, if you've got that lovely heirloom or that, you know, something that's been in your family for absolutely generations, you can give it to somebody, you can specify who you want it to go to.
And I think something that a lot of people perhaps worry about talking about is perhaps if there's a family member you don't want to have...
If you want to exclude
That's
somebody,
not uncommon anymore,
it's
is
not,
it?
Unfortunately. We hear it quite a lot, don't we? Which is, it's very sad, but it is quite common.
Yeah, but if it's your wish...
Those fridge magnets that say, you know, the friends of the family you choose for yourself exist for a reason. You know, blood isn't always thicker than water. We all know family... Look, there are some families where you look and go, they're like the Waltons. How's that work? But most families, you know, have got some issues or some friction, and sometimes that spills over to, well, my son's always been stubborn. We had an argument 20 years ago and we've never spoken. You know, and then it ends up being the other sibling that's cared for the parents. So the parent understandably says, well, I'm going to leave everything or the vast majority to this child to the exclusion of that child. And that's the thing with testamentary freedom, making your own will. You can make that decision. It's not enough to tell your family that's what you want, because the rules of intestacy will just give it to your children in equal shares. And so, again, we're back to the purpose of this show is, please, if you want to make sure that what you want to happen is going to happen, whether that's excluding someone or having different shares, whatever it is you want to see happen, the only way to ensure that is to make your own will.
And why choose simpler law? There's a lot of templates out there, isn't there?
Great. Write your own?
And you can write your own, can't you? Which you have to pay for.
Look at his face.
But why would we choose you over that?
It's a strange thing, you know, because it's really easy to fall into a trap as well of I'm sure everything will be okay. So first of all, we'll come back to the template very quickly, but first of all, ask yourself the question, why do you think that, and who's told you that it'll be okay? Because the chances are, I promise you, it won't. Then you can be like, oh, it's dead easy, I'll just write one myself. And I've always found this fascinating because it's a legal process, and unless you are actually trained as a will writer or you know this area of the law, I don't know why you take that risk. Because we won't do that in many other professions. And, you know, in the advent of all the technology we've got at our disposal now, we do know things that we didn't used to know. But there's nuances in the law, like do you know about the tax allowances? Do you know about first death and second death gifts? And we explain all this to you. And without being patronising, we hold your hand through the whole thing, including helping you make sure that it's signed, dated and witnessed correctly. Because even in this modern digital age, a will is not valid until it's got until it's been signed and dated in front of two independent witnesses, and it needs a wet signature. So we help with all of that. And I suppose the crux of it is, if you speak to someone like us, we're going to give you insured advice, and that's the important thing, is it's going to be advice driven. And we give you advice, and at the end of it, you get a will that's right for you. So you sit down in the comfort of your own home at a time that suits you. We send you some information to give you time to think about various things. It doesn't matter whether you read that or not, truthfully, because our consultant's so highly trained. I think you mentioned earlier, we've got all the questions, but you've got all the answers. Because what I want you to remember is not our will that's going to be produced, it's your will. We're just the facilitators of that. So we'll ask you all the questions, ask you what you want to do. We do take you to a dark place for 30 seconds. You know, when the worst happens, what do you want to see happen? And then we make sure that happens. And essentially, you don't get your document until you're 100% happy with the instructions you've given us, and you're 100% happy with the advice that we've given you. Whether you take that advice or not is up to you, but we just need you to, you know, be fully informed. And at the end of that, most importantly, you get your will. And if we've made a mistake, and touch wood we never have, we've written well over 300,000 wills. We've never had one fail. I'm going to touch wood again. This is the nearest thing to wood. But in all seriousness, we're also insured for up to £5 million. So if we do make a mistake, you're protected. A template doesn't do any of that for you. It'll just tell you where to write your name, who to write down your executors, and ask you what you want to happen, and won't give you any further advice than that. And sadly, if you make a mistake, you do have there's no recourse.
There's no comeback,
And it's quite
not
easy
worth the risk
to make a mistake just by writing something a little bit incorrectly because we don't know the terminology. And there's a story, isn't there? That was it grandparents and the gentleman, the granddad died, didn't he? And he had written, so he knew what he wanted to happen.
So
He'd written it
intention
down
was
on a
there.
template, but it was written wrong.
The heartbreaking thing when you see a template that's failed is you can almost see what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, if you'd have used a professional, that would have happened now. So it's almost more heartbreaking than them having no will at all. But yeah, the case that you remember there is we'd written a will for a couple, and sometime later, the missus in that couple phoned us up and explained that she'd lost her dad and what the problems were, and asked if we could help. And basically, her dad had used a template from a certain store that had bought and had written a will for himself and his wife, and at the time they'd got, I think, 3 grandchildren, and they wanted to leave everything to each other, and then £20,000 cash to each grandchild, and then ultimately everything split equally between their 2 children. But the way that he'd written it left £20,000 to the children, to the grandchildren, I beg your pardon, before it said it was going to the surviving spouse.
So, right, before the partner passed away.
The couple of issues were he was a sole owner of the property, not his wife, and when they wrote £20,000 to each of my grandchildren, there were 3, but at the time he passed away, there were 8. So now there's £160,000 got to come out of the estate to go to the grandchildren, which can only be achieved by selling the house to make the cash gifts.
And his wife's still alive.
And his wife's still alive.
Still living there,
So if we'd have explained and we'd been able to help and write that will to the point where we could have ensured that everything passed to each other, and those cash gifts only went to the grandchildren when they'd both passed away.
Which is what they would want.
Which sounds quite obvious when you say it, but this is the thing when you're writing it, unless you know exactly how to write it and how to document it. And again, it comes back to, well, I don't know why you would take that risk. You know, if I get a toothache, I'm contacting a dentist. If my car breaks down, I'm going to a garage. If I want some legal advice about my last act on planet Earth, I'll write it on a piece of paper myself. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
It really clears it up, doesn't it? It makes it so obvious.
And it is so affordable. I think there's lots of reasons we don't write a will. I think it's just something we do put things off, don't we? We don't get round.
We don't get round to it.
Life is so busy.
Really expensive.
Yeah, that is it. And we did.
There's sexier things to spend your money on. Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
But please give us a call or send us a text, because I'm not guaranteeing it'll be sexy at all, but it won't be what you think.
Yeah.
Most people, the experience of going through a consultation is not what they think.
You become friends, actually, because I know Simpler Law, not through Simpler Law joining us here on Shop on TV. We did my mum's lasting power of attorney through Simpler Law before they came to us here on Shop on TV. And it's brilliant because it was me and Mum. My mum's lasting power of attorney. We're both big worriers, so worried to death about this meeting. What do we need to know? What do we know? But the great thing is you don't need to know anything, because you virtually sit down like we are today. You sit down and have a conversation with some great team members, and there's so many 5-star reviews that actually, rather than mentioning Simpler Law, mention the person they spoke to.
They talk about the person, and once you're assigned that one person, you stick with that one person.
Which is great.
So you're not dealing with lots of different people.
So you sit down, have a chat. They have the right questions to get the right answers out of you, so you don't need to know anything. And at no point, and I'm always worried, I asked that was a daft question, why did I ask that? Or I sit there thinking, I'm not going to ask that because that's really silly. Because, law really, all legal things really frighten me. And I'm like, that won't. But not at one point did I think, well, I can't ask that. I felt I could ask absolutely anything. And afterwards, and thought, why didn't I ask that? I could email, oh gosh, I forgot to ask that, is this right?
It's at your own pace as well, isn't it?
Honestly, yeah, completely at your pace and completely at ease, and so simple to do.
Let's take a look at some of those reviews that Hayley was just talking about. When it comes to the people you deal with, that's who always get mentioned. So this one from Alan. Our consultant Charlotte explained everything in clear, unambiguous terms. Pricing was made clear and cooling off period was explained. Consultant was very pleasant and caring and sensitive to our needs. All necessary legal terms were explained in plain and simple English, and that's what you want, isn't it? We don't understand legal terminology, but it's all explained perfectly.
I struggle with long words, so anything legal.
If you don't understand at the end of the conversation what we've done for you, we won't proceed. That's how good the team are, and that's why they get these reviews.
The team are, and there's pages and pages and pages.
This next one,
reviews.
Alison said this: great service, extremely helpful and very informative. Morgan, who managed my will, was extremely pleasant and helpful and made the whole process very easy and very clear for me to understand. Couldn't have asked for better. A really nice man. And that's what you want to hear, isn't it? Especially when you're dealing with something like this. It's so important. Here's one more for you. I'd been putting off doing a will because I thought it would be complicated and take ages, but it was so easy, and now I don't have to think about it anymore. That's it. Once you've done it, I can also ring if I need to change anything.
It's
That's
that weight off your shoulders. You've done it. You've done it correctly. It's all sorted. It's been signed correctly. You know, everything's been done fine. And then you can just forget about it. And what you've done is you've given that last gift to your loved ones. What you've worked so hard for, what you want to happen, is going to happen when you write a legally binding will. If you don't write a will, honestly, there is a will in place. The government will fall into place, and it doesn't work for anybody. Whether you've been together 35 years but you're not married, whether you're married and you've got children from different families, it's not going to work for... Whether you're just married with children of your own, it's not going to work how you want it to work, because how can one will work for the whole of the country? But there is one will right there for you if you haven't written your own. But remember, lots of people say it's complicated. I think we've found out now that it is really easy with simpler law.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us do think as well it's going to be really expensive.
Worry about price, and that was what put us off initially, why we never got round to it. Well, we didn't get round to it, and then we were worried about the price. The prices we've got for you are exclusive here at Shop on TV, but they're only until close of business on Friday. That's why we keep saying do it right now. And we've got exclusive offers on wills, lasting power of attorney, and a combination. So if we start with the will, the fact that the suggested usual price is £249, our offer price should be £124, but our New Year special means we give you an extra 20% off that price.
Who would think under £100?
Yeah, to write
and then
a
you
will.
can split the cost as well.
Yeah, £24.75 on your first of 4 interest-free payments if you want to split the cost interest-free with simpler law.
And £24.75, I bet you spend that in an instant, don't you, on coffees, or you've popped into the shop to get a bottle of milk and then you come out with so many... You know, I spent £60 the other day and I think I'd only gone in for some herbs.
We went out somewhere the other day and had 2 drinks and it was more than that.
Yeah, so this money is so well spent, but it is so affordable. But you do need to secure the deals before close of business on Friday. Do it now, and we'll explain how you can do it. Lasting power of attorney, we're going to go into detail of lasting power of attorney now. That should be £349. You can see our regular Shop on TV price is £239, but you have got that New Year offer of 20% off, so £189, and then you can split that cost again, 4 payments of £47.25. We can't get a takeaway around our way for that, just for us to.
No, you can't.
Honestly, it's such well-spent money. And then your will and lasting power of attorney, and we say this, if you get in contact and you say, I want my will, and then as you watch the show you think, oh gosh, I wish I'd done that other deal and put the lasting power of attorney on as well, they will allow you, as long as you secure the deals, you can actually secure all of these prices, whichever one you choose.
Yeah, you can change your mind if you so wish. So that combination should be almost 600. 315 was the regular offer price, but we've got that extra 20% off for the New Year offer. It comes down to 249. That, when you split the cost there, 62.25 on your first of 4 interest-free payments. On top of that, the reason to do it right now, the first 250 people who secure the offers will also get this book. And this book, well, it's worth £25 to start with, but in here, this is what my family should know it's called, and the contents that you can put in here. Obviously, the obvious things like your assets, your pensions, bank accounts, but then things like your utilities, council tax, but then other things like home security, passwords for mobile phones and tablets. The reason this came about, Ian, it was part of your estate planning, wasn't it?
Yeah, we have an estate administration team, so we can help our clients deal with probate as well. So we don't just help you now, we're there throughout your life, and we can help at the point of need. But part of the job of an executor is to actually gather everyone's assets together. When I say everyone, the deceased assets together. And so that's the professional tools that we've got access to where we can do that. But there was always difficulty in tracking things down. And obviously, you're asking the family, do you know where we should be looking, and this, that, and the other. And I sort of thought about it myself. my dad, before he passed away, he was retired, and so he was receiving all his pensions, so we didn't have to look for them.
Right.
But I realised that I couldn't tell you exactly where my dad had worked and how many pensions he'd got. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
And so we came across some interesting statistics that it's believed in the UK that there's £5 billion out there of unclaimed pension pots.
Billion.
£5 billion. £2 billion of unclaimed life insurance policies. And there's about £850 million in cash sat in bank accounts.
Because people haven't found
family,
it.
Yeah.
I opened a daft account when I got my first job at sort of 18, and I never did anything else with that bank. But I set up a daft little standing order that still trickles in there now, and I don't know if anyone else knows about it. I call it my little sort of funny fund. But I was thinking about that myself as well, and going, would my wife know where to look for that? But yeah, so it's little things like that. So this again is just something that lets you sit down, just take stock, you know, at your own leisure. But it's really important, I think, now as well that we live this digital age, that you do pass on sort of pins and passwords for our digital items, because, you know, I'm from an era where I remember the crusty, you know, photo album that's gone a bit yellowy, and you wrote Whitby 1976 on the bottom. And now, of course, you scroll through a tablet to look at your pictures. But all those memories can be lost if you're not careful. So
because you can't get a password, and we found this family-wise, didn't we? A family member, the dad died very suddenly, wasn't expected at all. And they needed to get on his tablet for a lot of reasons, for emails and for personal reasons.
Well, lots of accounts are paperless, aren't they? The digital, so everything on there. But it was about family photos and things.
And they had no idea what his number was, and this went on for ages, and they couldn't find anyone that could, you know, suddenly try and find this number. It was only because, and obviously they'd been talking between themselves, but this one day, the young grandson walked past, and he was like, "Oh, I know Grandad's pass number because I played games on there, and that's the only way they got on. But they would have lost. They wouldn't have been able to get that information. It's not something you can do. Find someone's password.
Again, it's just a selfless thing to do, because, you know, at a difficult time, that doesn't make it any easier, if you like, but it certainly doesn't make it any harder. You know, and everything's in one place.
So popular, this book. And remember, the first 250 people will actually get that. You secure the deal right now, and you know you've got one of those ready and waiting for you. And I think it's a brilliant, brilliant book to have. Don't forget, really easy to get in contact as well. You can get in contact via the phones, via the website, or just by texting as well. So if you don't want to talk to anybody, get in contact via the website, simplylaw.co.uk/shop on TV. If you've perhaps got a couple of questions, the team are there right now. They can answer a couple of questions, but you don't need to know anything. Tonight is about just securing the deals that we've got available, and the team are there right on the phone.
Yeah, 0333 600 2600. They'll be there right through to the end of the show. But call now. You don't need any documents. You don't need any information. You're just securing the offers that we've been talking about. The easiest way that we always say, and this is always the busiest way, if you just want to send a text, if your phone's right there in your hand right now, just text the word WILL, W-I-L-L, to 66777. That secures the offers, and the team will get back to you.
And that is so simple, isn't it? You've done it, you haven't spoken to anybody. I do every competition where you just have to text a word in. I've never won yet, but the great thing is you will win tonight, because you've secured all of those prices by just texting that word WILL. And what you've also done is made sure that what you've worked so hard for, what you want to happen to, whether it is your house or whether it is your pets or whether it's a family heirloom, whatever you want to happen happens when you pass.
It's your wish, your final wish.
Nothing worse, and I don't know what happens when you pass, but I like to think you can watch down and you're watching your family fall apart, because they knew what you wanted to happen, but it isn't happening, because if you haven't written a legally binding will, the government will fall into place. And sadly, it's not right for any... One will can't be right for everybody, but that's what's there if you haven't written your own.
It's not just wills we're going to talk about as we go through the show. We're also going to talk about lasting power of attorney. And you might have heard of that term, but you're not quite sure what it means.
I think sometimes you've only heard of this term because you've heard about it too late.
Because
you've heard about
an
upsetting story, and you think, oh, gosh... What is lasting power of attorney?
Yeah, what do I need that? Well, we'll get Emma to explain exactly what it is, because I think a lot of people have heard of it. They might have read something in the news about it, but they're not quite sure what it means.
Yeah, so with these, it's basically a document that you would put into place while you've got mental capacity for it's the what ifs, and hopefully we would never have to use them. But what if you were to lose mental capacity through an illness, you know, something like dementia, or if you had an accident?
Yeah.
And so on the document, you are classed as a donor. So you are then officially donating your powers to the attorney, or attorneys, you can choose more than one.
Okay.
And they will then step into your shoes. So they become you in the eyes of the institute.
And there are two different types, aren't there? So there's property and affairs.
Yeah, because we
Affairs,
came to
yeah.
you for Mum for property and affairs.
Yeah.
Because I presumed I could just step into Mum's shoes if she was poorly. Everybody knows I look after Mum,
Yeah.
and it'll all be in her best interest. But obviously, I can't look
cannot.
after her affairs because I'm not Mum. So
No.
the bank won't
Yeah.
deal with me.
No.
The phone company bit won't deal with the gas won't deal with me because it needs to be Mum,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it does indeed. Yeah, I mean,
Or your husband, or your.
That's it. I mean,
you presume that you'd be able to just do it,
you
and
just
you can't.
You can't. Well, they've got capacity, so why would you when when they haven't? And it's all about protecting the vulnerable person at that stage. So it is a really important document to do. So.
And we'll put a list on the screen for you, because these are all the things that you can then do when you've got the power of attorney, aren't they?
They are. So obviously with the property and affairs, then you can claim things like your pensions, as you can see, benefits, open and close, and just operate normal day-to-day, accounts. And if you've got a property as well, what if you're in the process of buying a house or
Well,
selling
you might
a
need
house?
to sell that property to go into a home or
pay.
something.
Yeah.
That's certainly not an exhaustive list, but it sort of gives you a flavour. If you think about it, we don't really consider just how many institutions
no.
we deal with, and
No.
especially now we have gone like digital and paperless.
Yeah.
We don't see it as much.
I mean, that's just
And
the
nothing
iceberg,
stops,
isn't
does it?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
you're poorly, but all those things
Everything
are still
carries on.
happening.
Oh, look, quite rightly, in the morning,
Yeah.
we take for granted waking up and throwing the quilt cover back and just getting on with our lives and doing what we need to do. We either go to work, we pay that bill, whatever we need to do, we just do it, and we don't particularly think about it. But if you were really unlucky and life threw you a curveball, and that one morning you couldn't throw the quilt back and get on with that stuff still carries on.
Yeah.
So, if you're used to moving money around, or you're used to paying the bills, or whatever it was that you do that you take for granted you can't do now, you have to ask yourself, well, who would you want to step into your shoes?
Yeah.
And again, unless you've actually documented that whilst you can, that wouldn't happen. It's interesting what you said. There is a trap out there that people understandably fall into of, oh, it'll be fine, I'll be able to do it for them. But
Well, you would think, wouldn't you? You've got
course you would.
husband or wife or
Yeah.
partners. You just presume that's it. Obviously, you'd look after them,
But in reality, it doesn't make
No.
sense.
Well,
does it?
challenge yourself to think about it now, and it's like, well, if my wife walked into my bank and said, "Oh, I've just come to get some money out of my husband's
said.
account,"
Yeah.
he'd said it's all right. They'd be
No.
like, "No."
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So fast forward a day, and now I've lost capacity, and she says, "Oh, you wouldn't give it me yesterday while he was okay, but he's lost capacity now, so he's even more vulnerable and protected." Has that changed? And of course, actually, whilst it was impossible to start with, this sounds a bit odd, it's even more impossible now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and that's unfortunately the trap that people fall into is, I'm sure it will be okay. And again, you hit the nail on the head, I think, Hayley, when you said people often only hear about lasting power of attorney when they find out they should have had one.
Yeah,
Because it's too late to
That's
get one.
why we got one for Mum. It
Yeah.
was because you heard somebody else's awful story
Yeah.
and you thought, we've got to get this sorted. And when we actually went and spoke about lasting power of attorney, I only really thought there was the
Yeah, it was
financial
just the one.
side of things.
Yeah.
And then as we sat and chatted, we then went, well, there is a second one,
Yeah.
which to me, Emma, I think is... Well, I sat with Mum and I said, this is more important to me
Yeah.
than the financial side of things.
No, so you've got one that's called health and welfare as well. So this is basically looking after them. What home are they going to go into?
Yes.
What kind of care they're going to receive? And down to the littlest things, such as things like, what they're going to wear, what they're going to eat. Are they going to be able to still go on that holiday with you, or even just a day trip?
Or having
Going
the
down
power
to
so they don't have to go in a home as well. you know.
Well, this
Absolutely,
this
yeah.
has just happened to somebody I know, and they weren't going to let her husband come out of hospital because they said the house wasn't, suitable. And she was
Yeah.
like, "I'll make it suitable. It will be suitable." And they said, "No, we're going to have to put him into a home."
Yeah.
And she was like, "I've got lasting power of attorney,
Oh, good.
So,
and he's home."
yeah,
Good,
she has his
good.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they have everyone's best interests at heart, but again, we know how stretched the social
Yeah,
services and the care
absolutely,
system is.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, and if you can't present that actually that this person donated their voice to me, I'm speaking for them, that's when you get these horrible situations that get worse.
To some people, it would be so important for them to be at home. That's where they want to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then, or if someone has to go into a home, it's so important to be sort of a little bit in control of what home they go into, so they're close to you, or...
Yeah, because if you know, like my gran's got vascular dementia, which is quite specialised. Now, if she couldn't have gone into a home close to us, they might have said, oh, no, there's a home maybe 2 hours away. What if your family members didn't drive, or they just wasn't able to go and visit that much? That would be heartbreaking.
Of course it would.
Yeah, so...
So again, you're in control, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it, but what happens if you haven't got this written down?
Well, if you haven't got it written down, then it's a case of going to the courts, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's only one route. Again, there's not multiple options you can take, unfortunately. If someone you love and care about is incapacitated and you're the person that's expected or wants to step into their shoes, if they've not created a lasting power of attorney, the only route you've got is to apply for what's called a deputyship order through the Court of Protection. Now, it's a really protracted, it's quite a lengthy process, and it's really expensive as well. And that's if you deal with all the court proceedings, the paperwork yourself, the application,
Well,
the hearings,
we've got
all that
some
kind of
figures
stuff.
that we can put on the screen.
Yeah, there you go. Look, so £421 is just the application fee alone, which is considerably more than what we're saying you can draft one lasting power of attorney for. Well, you get both
You
for
could
that.
have both. Yeah.
They'll typically have an assessment fee, and that, believe it or not, is to do with you and are you the right person? Because the Court of Protection, by definition, is to protect the vulnerable person.
Because anybody can step forward, so they've got to discover
yeah.
whether you are the right,
Yeah. Often they'll require a hearing and they charge for that. And this is money that you have to find until you're granted the deputyship order as well, assuming that you are. And then there's a supervision fee, which, as you can see there, is an ongoing fee for however long you are acting as a deputy. So even when you have got power, sometimes that power's limited. There's one story that sticks with me where a woman's husband sadly got knocked over on a country lane. He went into a coma. They'd got wills in place, but never done lasting powers of attorney, so she had to apply through the court, so it was a lengthy, expensive process. And then even when she was granted the deputyship order, if she wanted to spend more than £500 of what was perceived of her husband's money, she had to check with the court and get permission first.
Each time.
So she said one of the first things she did is she was paying tuition fees for a daughter, and because that was more than £500, she had to seek permission from the court to do it. So, again, a difficult time is made worse. If we had crystal balls and we could see into the future and we knew that life was going to be absolutely pristine and perfect, you wouldn't even contemplate this. But it is a what-if document, and again, it's really selfless, because if you make this document, you put this in place now, then you know that, I say selfless, you know it's actually people that you trust that are going to step into your shoes.
Yeah.
But actually, you've just made a bad situation no worse, because the people that you love and care for, and you want to care for you, can literally just take that document and step into your shoes. Without it, they have to go through this lengthy process. And sadly, because it is so long, sometimes the people who they're trying to care for pass away within that period.
Oh,
So it's just... it can
before it's even never sorted out.
It can be a really heartbreaking situation. So these are the what-if documents. You put them in place and you hope you never need to use them. They have to be registered with a body called the Office of Public Guardian.
Right, yeah.
They charge a registration fee as well, separate to this. So at the point of registration, it's now £92. There are some remissions, so it's half price. It's 46, if my maths is correct.
I know.
or it can be free as well.
Yeah.
But again, in the big scheme of things, that registration fee to the Office of Public Guardian is quite tiny, especially compared to the potential cost of the Court of Protection.
that we saw there.
And I know where I thought incorrectly, even though, you know, as I say, we heard about lasting power of attorney because somebody else's sad story. I think I instantly think, as you get older, we should do a lasting power of attorney. But actually, you just don't know what's around the corner. Everybody should have a lasting power of attorney.
Hayley's friend, she had an accident. She got
in her
run over.
40s.
Yeah.
No age, you know.
Yeah,
so to have it in place.
It is a difficult... I find this document difficult to talk about, in the sense that I find wills easy to talk about because we don't know when the inevitable is and it's way down the track. But when you talk about lasting power of attorney, actually, and same for a will, to be fair, it's applicable to anyone of any age. And the only time you can do it is now. With the lasting power of attorney, I always go back to the crystal ball. If you knew life wasn't going to throw you a curveball, you don't need one. We all know we need a will because there's an inevitability to that. But it's the what if for me.
It is, yeah.
And if we had that crystal ball and we could see something horrible happen in the future, you wouldn't hesitate to put it in place to not only look after yourself and look after your kids, But that's why we insure things, isn't it?
Of course.
But as human beings, we tend to protect the wrong things.
Yeah.
Like boiler insurance, because that's more important than your husband or your wife.
My mum insured her dishwasher for years, and she's got the big family dishwasher. It takes her a week to fill it, and then she switches it on once a week. She says, "Do you think I should cancel this insurance?" I was like, "What have you been paying that for?" "Yes, you should totally cancel it. We could have bought about 6 dishwashers, and you would happily wash up anyhow if we didn't have a dishwasher." But we do. We put that money into so many silly insurances.
And we understandably protect things that we can see and that we see value in, sometimes monetarily. You know, people argue you legally have to insure a car, for example, but you don't have to insure it fully comprehensive, but most people do.
Yeah.
You know, we insure the contents of our home, we'll insure our house, you know, we'll insure our phones. You know, we'll protect all these material things and sometimes forget about ourselves. And I want to be clear, a lasting power of attorney is not an insurance policy, but it can be thought of in a similar vein, because it's the what if life did throw you a curveball? Who would you want to step into your shoes and how would you want them to act? And would you want that to be as easy as possible at a difficult time? If the answer is yes, that's why you put a lasting power of attorney in place.
Remember, we do have an exclusive offer if you want to go for a will and lasting power of attorney. That's the biggest saving of all that you can see there on the screen. But we've got savings across everything. An extra 20% off for our New Year deals for you.
First time we've done 20% off. It's the New Year deal, and you're getting that on the will, the lasting power of attorney, individually, but you can do them combined, and you're saving more than you're spending on that deal.
We should remind you of the deals, actually, and then we're going to talk about wills again. If you've just joined us, we'll go right back to the beginning for you. So wills, lasting power of attorney, we'll talk you through everything, and as we say, with experts here from Simpler Law. So first of all, your family estate and will, suggested retail price is £249.
I thought it would be thousands to do a will. £249 at full price, worth every single penny. What you want to happen, what you've worked so hard for, is actually going to happen because you're writing it down. Remember, if you haven't written a will, there is a government will that falls into place. You don't want that. And you'd happily spend £249. You'd happily spend £124, which is our normal price. But actually, you've got that 20% off for New Year, so it's £99. And you can split that cost. So actually, it splits that cost to 4 payments of £24.75, which I bet you spend more on coffee.
Well, over a week on takeaway coffees, you'll easily spend that. A couple of drinks, if you're in the wrong bar, that's very expensive. We're not going there again. Then we go on to your lasting power of attorney that we were just talking about. Just as important as a will, as you've just heard. Our suggested price is $349. Our offer price is going to be $239. But with that extra 20% off, it comes down to £189. And with those 4 interest-free payments, again, it comes down to $47.25 on your first of 4 payments.
I've just remembered, I can't remember who it was, we were talking to them, and they said, "Why didn't you tell us that you do this?" Because they'd spent thousands, hadn't they?
Oh, it was when we went to that remembrance service.
Yes, it was. And they were like, "Oh my goodness, these
Some
prices."
friends who we don't see very often.
Honestly, these prices are incredible, and they were even more gutted when they saw we do a deal where it includes the will and lasting power of attorney. They'd paid for it all separate. It cost them so much. You can do the will and lasting power of attorney, and even if you've been in contact already and you said, I want to do the will, and now you're thinking, "Oh gosh, I wish I'd said I'll do lasting power of attorney as well." As long as you secure the deals today or before close of business on Friday, do it today because you'll forget, the week will go and it'll be February before you know it. Do it right now. And what you could do is go for them both together. Should be virtually £600, bar £2, so £598. Our price as a special, normally £315, but with that extra 20% off, down to £249. So you're actually saving more than you're spending. And then you can split that cost over 4 payments, so £62.25 is the first of those 4 payments. Don't forget as well, another reason to do it right now is the fact that the first 250 people will get that fabulous book, and we'll go into a bit of detail about that a little bit later on, but that book is phenomenal. But remember, get in contact. This is the biggest thing. Get in contact right now. I know we're going to be busy. It's New Year. We're wanting to get things sorted and done. We might actually get a carpet for the hall and the stairs this year, perhaps. Everyone refuses to believe it. We've needed that carpet for years, but we just don't get round to doing it. Get round to it right now in whatever way you want. On the website, text, ring, all your details right there.
Yeah, you can go directly to Simpler Law, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV. You can call the team. The team are there right now. They're there right through till 3 a.m. 0333 600 2600. And again, you don't need any documents. You don't need to know anything. It's just about securing the offers. If you're calling the team, they're ready and waiting to take your calls right now. Texting, though, is always the busiest on these evening shows.
It's so easy, isn't it? And we're rubbish. I know we talk so much on television, but when we're at home, no one wants to answer the door. No one wants to answer the phone. I don't want to speak to them. I don't want to speak to them. So if you're a bit like that and you're thinking, well, I'm just going to bed, I don't want to speak. I'm just, going out to work. I haven't got time. Just text the word will. That's it. To 66777. Just text will 66777, and it's done. And if there's any competition like that, I'm in there straight away. I've texted. I've never won, but you will win, because if you're texting Will right now, you've secured all those prices. Whichever offer you want to go for, you've secured the price. Someone will get back in contact with you later on today or over the next couple of days, or depending on how busy we are. And I know we are going to be busy with about 20% off, which we've never done 20% off before. But remember, even if you're going away in a couple of weeks, or you're going away next week for a couple of weeks, and you're thinking, oh, what's the point? That's fine. Secure the prices, and when the team get back to you, you can say, well, actually, I'm not available these times, and they'll sort out a time that's right for you to sit down and chat. But what you've done is made sure you haven't missed out on those prices.
It's all done at your own pace. That's the other great thing about Simpler Law. Remember,
so easy.
You can go through our website as well if you want to, shopontv.co.uk. When you go to the homepage, just scroll down. You're going to click on the logo when you see the Simpler Law logo, and it'll take you straight through to those exclusive offers. You can see our on-screen partners there. Click on there, and it takes you through to those exclusive deals that we've got for you. You just fill in the form, and you are good to go. It's
and a really easy form to fill in as well. Honestly, everything is so simple. I get so worried about things being complicated.
Especially legal things, yeah.
It frightens me to death. If there's a flashing light behind me, it's me. I've done it. I'm guilty.
Hands up.
Instantly guilty. And if you're the same, and I know that I think I'm not clever enough. I won't know what they're on about. Honestly, Simpler Law, they know everything that's they need to know. And you don't need to know really anything apart from the fact you want a will or you want a lasting power of attorney. It'll be a sit-down, easy conversation over your phone. We did it as a video call. They become friends, and you don't feel at one point, I never felt I shouldn't ask something.
You never felt intimidated,
no.
You were saying the wrong thing.
And we never, Mum and me, big worry, the biggest worriers about everything. So really worried about the appointment. Really actually enjoyed it, sitting down, talking to this fabulous lady, chatting about things, her learning about us and the family, and then we'd answered all the questions that needed to be answered without even
just
knowing.
whilst you were chatting, yeah.
Without even knowing we'd done it.
We're going to go back to wills now. When we talk about wills, it's so important that you have your own will. Your will can do so many different things. It's not just about money, and we'll talk all about that. But remember, we're working directly with Simpler Law, so experts when it comes to family estate planning. So this is what they specialise in, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think what you've really got to understand, which we didn't realise, is that if you haven't written a legally binding will, there is a will, and it will fall into place if you pass. And what you perhaps have told all the family that you want to happen, because it hasn't been written in a proper, legally binding will, because that, it hasn't been done, sadly, a government will fall in place, and that government will not be what your heart wants to happen to, and your last gift to your loved ones. What you've worked so hard for, what you want to happen, isn't going to happen. So stay with us, because we didn't realise. And we've been together now, I think we've been together now 35 years, because we've gone into this next year.
You lucky girl.
Yeah, so lucky, so lucky.
Well, we're all wondering how.
Because we're not married, even though we've perhaps been together more than some married people, if one of us passed, we're not entitled to each other's...
Without a will.
And it's ours. Our family would know that what's mine is Sean's, what's Sean is mine. We've always been together. We work together. Our life is together. So obviously... But the government will would tear that apart. It would not work for us. But it wouldn't work if you're married with your own children, if you're married with children from different relationships, if it's just you on your own. Honestly, there's so many stories that will just make you think, oh, my goodness, so important that you write your own will.
And we'll give you lots of those examples as we go through the show. We're not alone. Ian and Emma are with us from Simpler Law. Again, it's really educational. Every time we do these shows, we're like, oh my goodness, we learn something new. Because you guys, this is what you do, isn't it? You specialise in this.
Yeah, if we're not the... Yeah.
That's all we do.
It's all we do. Nothing else.
All we do.
Nothing else.
Even when I'm at home, I'm talking about the rules of intestacy. My wife loves it. No, in all seriousness, you've hit the nail on the head. This is what we specialise in. So this, joking aside, is all that we do.
Yeah.
It was quite nice hearing that you said that when you're speaking to our consultants, you know, you're quite at ease. And
Completely.
and we love when we see the reviews that they say things like, you know, Jack was great, Kylie was great, etc., because they're dealing with that individual and dealing with that consultant. And we do know that for most people that speak to us, it's probably the first time that they've ever gone through anything like this. So without being patronising, we do hold your hand through the whole thing. But it's really important to understand that that little nag that you might have at the back of your mind saying, I think I should have a will, that nag should be bigger if you really understood potentially what can happen if you pass away without a will. And that's what you were talking about, is the rules of intestacy. And it always sounds really melodramatic, but the rules of intestacy can literally rip families apart at exactly the worst time. And it's not enough to think, I'm sure it'll be okay, because sadly, it won't be, because the rules of intestacy doesn't care about anybody. Not anyone watching this show now, not us four sat around this table. It literally is a backstop to ensure that there is a default position if someone passes away without a will. And if you think about that logically, if that didn't exist, well, there'd be anarchy, because then everyone would be saying, oh no, Sean said that I could have this, and Sean said I could have that, and actually Sean promised me this, and Sean promised me that. It wouldn't work. So there literally is, it's almost like sliding doors. You either pass away with a valid will in place that's yours, it's bespoke to you, it's tailored to your situation and your loved ones, or you don't. And if you don't, the government steps in and says, here's a set of rules. We appreciate it's over 100 years old, but it's the best that we've got. And that's not criticism, because
There's got to be something.
there has to be something.
You are like, that's ridiculous, but then when you say, well, obviously there has to be something, and how can it be right for everybody? It can't.
No, and they've tried to review it. You know, they've tried to modernise it, if you like, because, you know, society's very different to 100 years ago. But then the permutations start to get silly, which is why we have testamentary freedom in the UK, which is you can make your own will, hence you should make your own will. Then your last act on planet Earth, and everything that you've worked hard for is going to go to where you say you want it to go, and not be distributed. Is that right?
Yeah, you got it.
Distributed by a set of rules that was basically created in 1925.
And the government will, it's yes or no sort of questions.
It's just a series, as we can see,
if we were talking about Sean and myself, that first question, well...
So you run us through it.
We're out already.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because sometimes people say, oh, it's wrong or it doesn't work for me, but there's no right or wrong. There's just, as you said, there's just questions that are posed and answers. So, God forbid one of you had passed away yesterday without a will, the first question that's asked of the person that passed away is, are you married or in a civil partnership? And it's really important to know it's that simple.
It's as simple as that. So
I can't say, well, we were together 35 years, we've lived together all that time.
And this is the thing that shocks people, it doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's not bothered that you've been together 35 years, it's not bothered that you built a life together. And the weird thing then, when you look at that the next answer is, it asks, do you have children? If the answer is no, do you have parents, and so on, and then it starts going down to brothers and sisters. It all stays within your respective bloodline.
So is this how you hear stories sometimes, and someone passes, perhaps someone, you know, just up the road, and then you suddenly find out that someone in France or Australia that they never met...
A second cousin twice removed, because that's the last member of the family.
The bloodline.
Yeah. Has got everything, and they don't even know who they are. There was a story, actually, it was a gentleman, wasn't it? And he had a friend who really looked after him, and he really wanted to leave the house to his friend when he passed.
Everyone that knew them knew what their relationship was, and to be fair, the friendship, and it was decades, and the gentleman who everyone believed was getting the house wasn't his friend because he thought he was getting his house. He was leaving him his house because he was his friend, and he didn't have any family, and you know, and he was his family. He saw him as his brother, and he passed away, and I sort of know them by association, and the question came up as Bob inherited the house, you know, as it all, and there was sort of a bit of mystery around it. Turns out he'd never left a will. He just thought it was enough because everyone,
tell everyone.
honestly, because everyone knows. And that's when things fall down. I'm sure it'll be okay, and everyone knows what I want to happen. Of course, he passed away without a will. Bob's not a family member, even though he saw him as family, and it's ended up going to a second cousin or a first cousin in Canada, who we'd never really had a relationship with because he'd got no. So yeah, yeah.
That's
because
heartbreaking, isn't
it wasn't even like people. Oh, I'm sure he would want this to happen. It had been talked about. You know, it was like. And you know, and the dismissive way, oh, when I go, I want you to my, oh, don't talk like, you know, we all do that, don't we?
Of course, yeah.
We're all, and I think we mean that, you know, because as children as well, we're like, you know, if our parents start talking about passing away, we're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
But these are conversations that we should have in truth, because if your parents were given the choice of everything they worked hard for not coming to you or coming to you, which way do you think they would go? And they'd want to have that half-an-hour conversation where they guaranteed that it did come to you, because that's ultimately what most parents want.
And when you're in a
situation, just writing it down.
When you're in a situation where you are all so devastated, anyhow, because obviously you've lost a loved one, and there's nothing worse. So you're all in a terrible place, and then all of a sudden, what you know, your dad, your mum, you know, your brother, your sister what they wanted. You know, they've told you, and then all of a sudden the government will takes over. And that doesn't happen. That must rip families apart.
It's horrible.
It must do.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, because obviously you're already bereaved, and then not having a will and finding out that what the deceased wanted is now not going to happen. All that gets exacerbated. And one of the biggest, if not the single biggest reason for family breakdowns is actually a family bereavement where there isn't a will. Because everyone's got their own opinion or believe that they're right, or frustrations are heightened because what they thought was going to happen isn't going to happen. So making a will is incredibly, incredibly selfless. But you will get something out of it. If you send us that text tonight, if you send the word will to 66777, I promise you won't regret doing it. And I promise you'll be like every other client that's gone through this process with one of our consultants. It always ends in a variation of the same thing. I'm glad I did that. No one ever gets to the end of it and goes, oh, I wish I'd not bothered. And sometimes they're really glad they did it, because something comes out as we're going through that, oh my God, if I'd not done that, I didn't realise that, I didn't realise that. You know, some people go, well, I've been thinking about doing it and think it's just going to be straightforward, and then realise something that could have been quite catastrophic. Or
there's so many misconceptions, isn't there?
It's easy to assume. Who wakes up on a Saturday morning and goes to a search engine and says, what happens when I die? You know, and there isn't that information readily available, but that's what we're there for. So if you are watching this tonight, this is a unique opportunity to say, right, I'm going to put that tick box at the start of this year. I'm going to put that tick in the box to say I'm going to put my will in place, because I promise you won't regret it. So text the word will to 66777. We will call you back. Or the team are there now. Speak to one of the team now, or 333 600 2600. And I know I use this a lot, but I absolutely believe it's true. No one ever regrets putting a will in place, but your family could regret that you didn't. So please just remove that potential for regret.
So important.
I saw those comments on Facebook just the other day, someone saying exactly that. She lost both parents, and not someone I knew, it was just someone that had put it on, and they hadn't left wills, and then she'd lost another family member, and she says, please write a will. She says, it just makes everything so hard, and
if you haven't got it in place.
Even more upsetting, because and more complicated, and at a time when you're just as low as you can be anyhow.
None of us have got that crystal ball, have we? That's the thing. So we don't know what's going to happen in the future. What we can do, though, today, we can say, right, I'm going to plan for the worst and hope for the best. Obviously, there's an inevitability to a will, but just put that tick in the box, just get it done and get it out of the way, and then...
And what a good time, the beginning of the year.
Absolutely, it's a great opportunity.
It's something you keep putting off. And there's so much you can do with a will. I think lots of us, you might be sat at home thinking, well, I haven't got a great deal, I've only, I haven't got much, but a lot of people have a house, a car, or it's even pets, children.
But
there's so much.
It's not just about money, is it?
No, of course not, no. So, as you just said then yourself, Hayley, if you have pets, we are a nation of pet lovers, then you can stipulate, who's going to look after your pet when they've gone, so then they're not going into, a home or,
or homeless,
a shelter. Or homeless. You can choose what age your children inherit as well, because that's truly important. With the rule of intestacy, they're automatically going to inherit 18. Is that, my son's 18, would he be right to inherit a lot of money right now? Probably not, bless him.
We know for a fact, don't we, that parents of minors, parents of young children, very, very tiny percentage go, yeah, let them inherit. They go,
Yeah.
no. 21, they'll be a bit more mature, or 23.
Yeah. And then you could also phase it as well if you
That's
wanted
a nice
to.
idea, isn't it? So they could have a little bit
Stagger the
and then make
inheritance.
sure then when they go to university there's a bit there, and then when they perhaps looking into buying a house there's a bit.
You know your children better than us, don't you? So you know.
Yes.
It's quite funny sometimes. They're like, oh yeah, my daughter, no problem. Son, no. His frontal cortex is not fully developed yet.
And the other, something you don't want to think about, but if both parents passed, which is a horrible thought.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
But again, in a will, you can actually state who you would like to have your children. This is something you could discuss with family members or friends.
Yeah.
Because even though we're godparents to so many children, we'd have to get flats. But actually,
a block.
As a godparent, we've got no responsibility, have we, legally, to look after
That's a religious
Unfortunately not.
position.
It is actually, yeah. So unfortunately not. So you would then need to put some... And again, and I stress this because I'm a parent myself, if you do have children, a will, just for that sake, is so important. Because obviously once you've, if both parents do pass, you may have the family arguing over them as well.
Well, it'd probably be the case where both sets of grandparents step forward. And then
or brothers, aunties and uncles.
Yeah, of course.
That sort of thing. And again, it's your choice then to, the person that you trust to look after them knows them. They know their likes, their dislikes, their habits. And
someone who has your values.
Yeah, exactly.
It's usually someone similar age, like-minded. But it's your choice. If you speak to most parents, even if they're not giving it a great deal of thought, subconsciously they'd know where they would want their children to be. So the last thing a parent wants to think about is not seeing the children grow up. But you're absolutely right in what you said about a will not just being about money, because that's... If we stopped most people on the street and said, what do you think a will is, they'd probably go, well, it's just where you write down where you want your money to go. But it's absolutely not that. I mean, that's one element of it.
Yeah.
But you can pass on your parental responsibility. And guardianship is a big, big thing.
That's massive. Yeah.
My wife and I have got, the boys are teenagers now, they're young men now, so it's becoming less and less relevant. But, when they were both babies, we sat down with the people we wanted to name as guardians, and it was like a weight lifted. It was like, look, if the worst happened to me and Jeannie, we're going to name you as guardians. Are you okay with that? And we actually made them think about it a little bit, because they immediately said yes. But they'd had their children much younger than we had, and they were grown up and they got their lives back.
Okay.
So I said, we've just asked you to have a 2-year-old and a baby.
Bless you.
And they gave it pause a minute. I said, but, and of course they went, yes. And they asked sensible questions around other money and stuff like that. But the weight off mine and Jeannie's shoulders was we didn't want to think about it. We don't think about it now.
No, of course. It's just there, isn't it? Just in case.
But in that moment, we knew that if life threw us a curveball, that the boys were going to go where we wanted them to go, and they were going to be welcome there.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And I think that's
peace of mind.
Another reason to do a will with yourselves is because it's things that you probably would never have thought about.
Yeah.
You instantly think about the money
house,
that you've
the car.
got and where you're passing those things, who that you're passing those things to, or who you're not going to give those things to. But actually, it's so much deeper than that, and it's things that you won't have even thought about that you could actually put into a will.
It really is. So many, even down to your funeral plans, if you wanted to put that down.
Well, you had a story about this, wasn't there? Two sons arguing over, was it a hymn or a song or something? And they both knew the song that...
They were absolutely adamant about what music should be played during the service, and they were genuinely quite... It was getting quite bitter. I mean, we were party to it, we weren't involved as such, but thankfully the lady had stored a document with us and had documented the funeral wishes, and they were both wrong, which was quite nice in a sense, because they both sort of went, all right, we thought we knew best.
Solves it,
that's all.
Yeah.
We've had some really, really sort of amusing... we've had one client say, well, can I have The Wicked Witch is Dead playing? And we're like, we can put it in your will.
Okay.
It's your will, it's your wish.
That's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is important. The whole point of making a will is it's yours. It's bespoke to you, it's unique. It's the only one in the world because it's yours. And then it's tailored to what you want to happen. It's
and
your
that's
last
the only way
act.
that can happen, because sadly, if anyone has just joined us and you're thinking, well, surely, we're married, the kids are ours, it'll be fine, or, and honestly, it won't, because if you haven't written your own will, there's a government will. There is a will that instantly falls into place. Whatever you've told your loved ones, whatever everybody thinks or perhaps you've written it on a bit of regular paper, it has to be legally written for those things to happen. And if it's not legally written, the government will... It can't work for anybody. It's 100 years old. It's
a backstop, yeah. It was the rules of intestacy were established in 1925. Society was very different then, but that's the current backstop, if you like. So the question is asked of someone that's passed away: did they have their own valid will in place or not? And if the answer is no, they didn't have their own valid will in place, then they get the rules of intestacy. You can see on the screen there, it's just a series of yes or no questions asked about the person that's passed away. And it all starts with the marital status. We still hear today, there's a wonderful guy in the pub who's a Trivial Pursuit champion, who everyone goes to because he knows everything about everything. No one knows what job he had, if he even had one. He often wins the pub quiz, and interestingly, is the bane of every professional's life because people will trust him. And he's the guy that will still tell you. He's the guy that would have said to you, "Oh, you've been together 35 years, you've got rights, and your common law." Your common law husband and wife. I hear things like, "Well, we've been together for 2 years, so we've got rights." And
we'd heard that. If you lived together for 2 years, we'd heard that from somewhere.
Yeah. And certainly on the marriage thing, it's quite interesting because there's no ambiguity, there's no grey area. The question is, are you married or in a civil partnership? And it's yes or no. And it isn't, well, we're cohabiting or we're in love or, we've been together a certain amount of time. It's, did you get married or did you enter into a civil partnership, yes or no? And then all the other questions are yes or no. And ultimately, there's a destination, there's a conclusion to where everything that you own, that's going to go there. So it doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about anything outside of those questions. And it's only interested in your marital status and your bloodline.
And it is your bloodline. That's a big thing because there's, I think, so many families now. You're in, sort of families where
blended families,
you've
second
got children
marriages,
from different relationships. You've perhaps got children together. You live as one family. The kids don't see themselves as stepsisters or stepbrothers, but sadly, the government will see them all completely different, won't they?
Many years ago, I'm sure he won't mind me saying now. Many years ago, I was asked to go and see a friend of a friend. They were on the second marriage, but they'd been married longer the second time round than both of them had been married the first time round. They kind of dismissed the first marriage as safe for the fact they'd both got daughters from that previous marriage. And they'd grown up as a family unit, didn't consider themselves, as you said, as stepsisters, consider themselves sisters. The parents didn't see them as daughter and stepdaughter, it's our daughters, and understandably and quite rightly so. The law saw that differently. He was very annoyed that I'd been asked to go around, truthfully, when I got there, because he was adamant that there wouldn't be a problem. And I just said, look, I said, sadly, I said, if you passed away without a will, I said, everything would pass to your wife. He went, yes. I said, which is what you want. I said, then when your wife passes away, I said, unfortunately, your daughter gets nothing because it would all follow her bloodline, just go to her daughter. He went, no. Just like, I know. I went, yes. And you can imagine this went back. I said, look, check for yourself. I said, but it's all about the bloodline. I said, it becomes then a lottery. The first parent that passes away, their children ultimately lose out because everything moves to what is essentially another bloodline. It might be a spouse, but it's a different bloodline from your children and goes down that bloodline. And then sometimes those people will say, well, it's fine because the girls will sort it out between themselves. But
that's way too much pressure.
It's
isn't it?
a lot of pressure.
You don't know what situation they're going to be in, and that could then rip their relationship apart.
Yeah, and we don't always 100% know what's going on in each other's lives.
No.
How do you know that one of your children isn't going through financial pressure they're not telling you about? Or, you don't know that their partner isn't, or husband or wife aren't going to have a massive influence on what they decide with what legally is their money. Because there's no obligation once someone's inherited. Or is it just going to be this awful fracture of, I never liked you anyway, thanks, I'm going to keep the money. But, and I'm being facetious there, but what I'm saying is, all these things that we can't possibly foresee, actually, you can mitigate all of them by picking up the phone tonight and saying, I'm going to make sure that what I want to happen happens. I'm not letting the government decide what happens to everything I've worked hard for. I'm going to make my own will. So if you've got your phone in your hand now, the easiest thing, honestly, please, just text the word will to 66777. You won't regret you did it. And if you go through this process, at any point you go, do you know what? This isn't as easy as Ian said it was going to be. I've not had a laugh yet, and I don't like the consultant I'm speaking to. Just say, I want to stop and can I have my money back, and we'll give you your money back. I promise you, there's no risk to doing this, none at all.
And that complete peace of mind that you're getting it professionally written, so you know it's exactly right. And we'll talk through as well why templates, perhaps you've been looking at writing your own will, and why it's so important to go with someone like Simpler Law. But the biggest thing is what you want to happen for what you've worked so hard for will actually happen because it's on a legally binding will. You'd be devastated, and I really do believe, I get a white feather, I see that, Robin, and I really do believe that, you know, my dad is watching. And you'd be devastated if you're looking down on your family and they're completely falling out because they actually knew what you wanted, you'd told them, but none of that was happening because you didn't write that will, you didn't get round to it for whatever reason, and now they're falling out because the government will has fallen into place, and the government
it's
will
not what you wanted.
Isn't right for anybody.
It is just about taking that first step, either texting, either going on the website, or
I think
calling.
sometimes it's not that you don't want to write a will. I think
just
we all
don't get
know
round
we
to
should
it.
write a will, but there's
Ian always says life gets in the way.
we're in another year now. We're
Yeah.
already, you know, a good way through that first month, and you're like, where is that time? And that time just keeps going. If you don't get around to doing it now, you'll then be planning your summer holiday, and then before you know it, the winter will be coming again. Then it'll be Christmas, and another year has gone by. I say always, we've got a hall carpet and a stair carpet that is disgusting, and
just
we
determined.
desperately need it doing. And the only reason we haven't got round to doing it is we just don't get round to that first phone call.
That's
or
that
actually
first step.
going into the
Going
shop
into
and
a shop,
actually...
yeah.
It's not that we can't afford it, it's not that we don't... We want a new stair carpet. But you just put these things off. Tonight, if you're up right now, you're up for a reason, I'm sure, and it's for you to get in contact and make sure you secure these prices, you get your will in place, you get your lasting power of attorney, which we'll go into if you don't know what a lasting power of attorney is, or you've heard of it and you're thinking, do I need that as well? But I think that's why you're up tonight, and it's so easy just to secure these prices right now and then actually sit down with a fabulous team that will make this process so easy. And what you want to happen, you know, is actually going to happen. You're in control, it's yours.
You're just taking that first step that we're talking about, and you don't need any documents with you, you don't need to know anything, you're just securing these fabulous deals that we've got from Simpler Laws. So we'll start off with the will that we've just been talking about. Suggested retail price there of $249, with the offer price should be $124, but we've got that New Year special, an extra 20% off, so it comes down to £99. With your 4 interest-free instalments, it's just $24.75 on your first of 4 payments there.
And that's nothing, isn't
well,
it?
think about what you spend $24.75 on. You could go into the supermarket at lunchtime to get your lunch and end up spending that and more.
I bought some stamps today.
Oh dear.
My
They've
word.
gone up in price, haven't they?
Everybody's
My
bitter
word.
about stamps. Don't start the stamp debate.
So honestly, $24.75 makes it so affordable. 4 payments, your will is professionally written. What you want to happen is going to happen.
And so important.
You don't wait till the end of those payments, by the way. You get your will immediately as well.
Of course,
and it's for the equivalent of about 75p a day. That's what it is.
Grief.
Less than a stamp.
Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
And way less than my pretentious coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go
Coffee
into that in a
prices
moment.
are... You'd spend more than that, I bet, every week on coffee. It's absolute... Coffee prices are crazy.
Ian definitely does.
Yes, but we won't talk about his coffee. It's ridiculous. Lasting power of attorney, we are going to go into detail about this. This is just as important as a will. And important right now. It's not something you do when you get old, and we'll explain and talk you through this. £349 is the price it should be. Our Shop on TV deal is normally $239, but you can see again with that extra 20%, that's a special for the new year. We've never done a 20% saving, down to, as you can see there, $189. And again, you can split that cost to 4 payments of $47.25. And the truth is, our takeaways, we can't get a takeaway just for the 2 of us for that price.
No, not
For
where we live.
one of those payments. Yeah, we spend money.
We do like quite a lot, to be fair.
Oh, we only get like a meal for 2.
We do, you're right. No, you're right, yeah.
That's all we do.
Each.
Not each, thank you. The biggest saving
And an
of all...
extra starter.
Biggest saving of all is if you go for that combination there. And once you've secured the deals, if you do change your mind and you want to change and have both, or...
Yeah, I think you might ring up and think, oh, I'll secure the deal for the will, and then you'll sit and watch the rest of the show and think, oh, gosh, yeah, no, I need lasting power of attorney as well. And that was a bigger saving. you can change your mind as long as you've secured the prices, and we'll tell you how to do that. Will and lasting power of attorney should be $598. Our regular price is fabulous.
Yeah, 315, but with the extra 20% off that we've talked about for our New Year special offer, it comes down to 249, saving way more than you're spending. 62.25 on your first of 4 interest-free payments there, and that'll be for both, remember, the will and lasting power of attorney. Don't forget, the first 250 clients also receive the free book. It's worth £25. It's called What My Family Should Know. This is a brilliant bit of kit for you, because in here you can register and put down all your details that someone will need when you do
It's
pass
another
away.
peace of mind for your family, Ian, isn't it? Because all the information they will need to find will be in here.
It helps make a difficult time less difficult.
Yeah.
Because you've sat down whilst you could, in the comfort of your own home over a brew, and just sort of taken stock of what you've got and where your loved ones should look. And it's really important because there's lots that can be easily missed. And there's lots of wealth in the UK that should be with family members that's actually still with institutions because it's never been found.
Because people don't know it's there, like old pensions and...
Old pensions is huge. It's believed there's £5 billion of unclaimed pensions in the UK, £2 billion of unclaimed life insurance, 850 million sat in bank accounts.
Because you wouldn't know, would you? Say it's your parents. I wouldn't know all Dad's pensions, all the jobs he'd done. I wouldn't know all the life insurance. I wouldn't have a clue. It's not
You said your mum's got secret boxes squirreled here.
My mum has got, honestly,
what if you don't find one of the secret boxes?
So many secret,
yeah.
Could sell the house and someone else finds the secret box. Because there's just... No, absolutely.
Yeah. Just check that they're still not doing the old school thing of sewing money into the bottom of the curtains and things like that as well. But,
it's also those things like we talk about digital accounts, don't we?
That's really big today.
You know, passwords, phones, tablets, computers, all of those things.
It would be hunting for letters normally, wouldn't it? And but now it would be emails.
Would have been,
yeah.
And actually, our life is on our phones and tablets, so it's photographs, it's sentimental memories, videos and things.
we're all in the cloud now, aren't we? I think. I mean, I feel older and older as every day goes on. Especially now, my boys are teenagers and they've been brought up in this environment, aren't they? So everything's just tap, tap, tap.
Yeah.
They've never had to rewind anything in their lives. They just speak to something, and what they want to watch or listen to is just there.
Yeah.
They can't understand
We
that.
used to have to go to the video shop.
And sometimes it wasn't in.
No,
You
absolutely.
had to put your name down on a list.
And you could only have it for a certain amount of time or you were fined. You had to rewind it.
It's
That's
also
right,
about paper copies, hard copies. A lot of things, there aren't hard copies anymore. It's all digital again, isn't it?
Absolutely. And if that information is stored on a phone or a tablet and that's
With a password.
pin protected or password protected, then unfortunately it can be lost. Generally be lost because no one can access it.
Devastating.
So again, selfless thing.
I was
Sorry.
going to say, I'm a nightmare for remembering my own passwords, let alone...
So never
let
mind
alone somebody
passing them on.
else's, or passing them
so
on.
it can all be in that one place, remember?
And the first 250 people, if you're securing that price right now, first 250 people get that book. So often that book goes and you want to buy it. You don't need to if you're one of the first ones to get in contact. So get in contact now, and it's so easy to do just that. You can either get in contact via the website, via the phones, the team are there, or by texting.
Yeah, simplelaw.co.uk/shop on TV. Takes you straight through to the exclusive offers that we've been talking about. The team are in the office right now. They're there right through till 3 a.m. So if you do want to call, 0333 600 2600. If you are watching on our +1 channels, that's ITV and STV +1, you can still text. You can still use the website. So texting is always the busiest, isn't it?
Always the bit. It's so easy, isn't it? All you need to do, you secured the deal. You've taken that first step, and it was simple. You text Will to 66777, and that's it. And that is, I think, the simplest way. You don't have to speak to anybody. What you know you've done is you've secured that price. And don't panic if perhaps in a couple of days you're going away for 2 weeks. Secure the price. When the team get in contact with you later on today or over the next couple of days, you can say, well, actually, I'm not here for a couple of weeks. That's fine. They'll sort a day that's right for you to all sit down and chat through your will, chat through your lasting power of attorney. And it is just a sit-down chat conversation. Simpler Law makes something that you might think is going to be really complicated so easy.
But do it right now, because the offers are only available until close of business on Friday.
And you'll forget, won't
So if you do leave it, you will forget.
Yeah.
You
It'll
won't get round to it. Do it right now.
It'll be Saturday, it'll be next week, it'll be February.
Something else becomes a priority,
Yeah,
doesn't
of course
it?
it does.
Always.
This, arguably for me, the hardest thing is actually the easiest thing. The hardest thing is to text the word
first step.
Yeah.
will to
Yeah.
66777. Setting the ball rolling is the hardest thing to get going, but once you've set it going, you never regret that you did. But, you know, if you go to bed tonight and you've not sent that text, tomorrow morning there'll be a phone call or an email or life will just get in the way.
My
So
mum
don't
needed a
procrastinate.
patio doing for donkey's
Well,
years.
they know.
It was uneven, it was dangerous. We got to every winter and thought, oh no, then it's going to
Still
be
haven't done it yet.
slippy, and it's still not done. And this went on and on and on, and we kept saying we must do it. We'll do it when it gets to spring. We'll do it. And then the summer came, and then the summer had gone. Then it was winter again. Can't do it through the winter. It'll be such a mess. And this went on for years. And we actually, all we need to do is get in contact with someone and say, would you come round and give us a price?
First step, like we say.
And we did that, and all of a sudden, in a few weeks,
It
was
happened.
done.
You can
And
do similar things for stair carpets, I've heard as well.
Oh, our stair carpet
Okay.
is so embarrassing.
Sorry.
It is so
Sorry,
embarrassing.
couldn't
If we
resist.
don't do that this year, please.
Oh, look, there's all... I mean, I'm giggling to myself already because I genuinely, you know, I'm at a certain age now where I'm like, right, I should look after myself a little bit better. So, you know, it's new year, new start. We have that arbitrary thing, don't we, 1st of January.
Yeah.
It's weird because I keep putting it off to the next Monday, you know, just because I've got this thing coming up and I've got that thing coming. So, yeah.
Start on Monday.
So it's really easy. It's human nature to put off something that we don't want to do. And I wouldn't suggest that making a will is at the top of people's list of something I want to do.
No.
But actually, if you really understood the value of it, just how
it is.
important it is, not just for you, but for your loved ones, it would be at the top of your list. And I think if you're watching tonight, the planets have aligned. If you're listening to me talking now, you've got an opportunity to... It's as easy as sending that word will to 66777, and you've done something amazing. So don't miss this opportunity, because I promise you, you won't ever look back on it and go, I wish I'd never done that. It'll be quite the opposite. You'll be like, I'm glad I got that sorted. Then just live your life.
Yeah.
You put that tick in the box. Don't put it off till next Monday like I'm doing with the health kick. Or the next month. I'm thinking February now.
No, tomorrow.
The worst...
It's not just wills, remember.
But
It's
the
not
worst
just
thing
wills,
is...
it's lasting power of attorney
Yeah, which
as well.
we will go into lasting power of attorney. But remember, will-wise, if you haven't done yours, you know, we haven't done our stairs and it'll just stay as it is. However, if you haven't written your will, there is a will that falls into place, which is the government will. And that will take control of everything that you own, and it will give to who it thinks is the right people to give to, not what you want to
Not
happen.
your wishes,
So please, it is so important to write that will, and do that. Just text that number or jump onto the phones. The team are there till 3, or get onto the website. Just get in contact and secure the prices. But if you're looking and thinking, well, you mentioned lasting power of attorney, I'm waiting up because I was wondering, I've heard that. We'd heard about it. I actually dealt with Simpler Law for my mum for her lasting power of attorney before they worked with us here on Shop on TV, and they were brilliant because me and Mum worry about everything. You know, I feel I'm daft, I'm silly, I'll ask the wrong questions. Felt so at ease.
Well, because it's
sitting
something
down.
legal, it's not what you do day to day, is it? So it is a bit scary.
Yeah. And though I won't know the answer, but honestly, you don't need to know anything. It's a simple conversation, and they talk that information out of you, really. You don't even realise you've answered all the questions. It was actually so pleasant to do. But the only reason we did a lasting power of attorney is we heard of it because of a sad story where it was too late and someone hadn't done it. It's so important, isn't it? You know, your mum, your dad.
Yeah, my mum and dad both had it. It's so important when it comes to that really sad stage of life, isn't it? So we'll talk to Emma and get you to explain, Emma. If anybody at home's watching and they're like us, initially we'd heard the term but we weren't sure what it was. Can you explain what it means, lasting power of attorney?
So a bit like you guys kept saying there, you know, we don't have crystal balls. We don't know if we're going to get, you know, given this curveball in our lives. So if we was to lose mental capacity by any means, maybe through something like dementia or an accident, unfortunately, this is a document that, you know, you should put in place now while you've got capacity, and you on the document are classed as a donor. So what that means is you're going to donate your powers to the person of your choice, the attorney or attorneys. There can be a couple of them, and in the eyes of the institutes, they're going to become you. They'll be able to do everything that you do in your day-to-day life.
So when you say institutes, there's two different types, aren't there?
There is, yes.
We'll talk about the property and affairs.
Yeah.
So it's like a financial one,
It is, yeah. You know, money makes the world go round
Yeah.
and things like that. So with this, in this case, then you will still be able to, you know, claim things like your pensions or your benefits. You can do day-to-day account operations, buy and sell property even, you know. You may have to sell your property if you have
For
to
someone to go into a home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bills, you know, have you ever tried to, you know, deal with utility companies? They can be a bit of a nightmare,
Well, it's
can't they?
that first thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you call and they say, are you the account holder?
Account
if you say
holder,
no,
yeah.
everything stops, doesn't it?
I think the statement at the bottom of that graphic
It's
there
really
is.
important.
I think that sums it up. Is that basically, if life does throw you that curveball and you've got this document in place, you've said that essentially these are the people I trust
Yeah.
to step into
To
my
become me.
shoes, and then everyone that you deal with, they deal with as if they're you. So, and that's hence power of attorney. It's
Because
incredibly
all
powerful
those things
document.
are going to keep coming, aren't they? The bills are going to keep coming. Perhaps you've got a company, you need to talk to the government about your company. All those things are going to carry on happening.
Yeah.
But you physically, though, if you were married, you'd presume, well, it's my wife, it's my husband. You know, obviously I'll sort it all out. Or for mum, I look after mum now. Obviously everybody knows I'd have her best interest at heart. Surely I can do it. But obviously, when you think about it, we can't deal with anybody else's money or finance or bills or...
You can't in normal day-to-day life.
You can't, no. I mean, even if you're married, I couldn't go into my husband's bank and say, oh, he said I could draw some money out for him. You know, he can't make it today.
I think my wife's found a way, I'll be honest. I'm looking at my statement, I'm thinking that my wife's found a way.
But no, they just wouldn't allow you to do that,
No.
would they? So obviously, when somebody's lost capacity, they're more
It's
vulnerable.
even worse, isn't it?
So
That's
it's even
the
worse.
serious point, because
Yeah.
this is a trap that people do fall into,
You
and you
just
said it
presume,
yourself.
if you're married,
And it's
why
un-
would you not?
and-
You've
and
got a
it's-
joint account,
Absolutely,
surely.
and it is understandable, you know, especially as a married couple, or if you're living your life together, you know, even if you've got a joint bank account, you're probably just thinking, oh, we can use it. But actually, if one owner of a joint bank account loses capacity, then the British Banking Association actually state that should be frozen, because you've both got joint access to it. So if only one of you has got capacity, so it can get
Which
very...
you just wouldn't believe, but
No, and you wouldn't
obviously-
think like that. And my own experience, I mean, I can speak for me and my wife, is you know, over a period, we've been together 21 years this year. The roles have sort of sorted themselves out over those couple of decades, you know, and my wife does one bit and I do another, and I tend to just sort of move the money around and manage the money. We have a joint account where we both work, and I do that every month, and that's just what I do, and I've always done that.
Yeah.
We've never really changed anything, and that's the way it works. But if I didn't throw the quilt cover back tomorrow morning, I couldn't do that. So if my wife then didn't have the power to step in and do what I do, that creates a problem for us.
Yeah.
And my experience has also been that when you're talking to a couple, quite often one half of that couple takes more of a prominent role in dealing with the
Yes.
finances. And sadly, if it's that person that's incapacitated as well, sometimes the other half of the couple's one, well, where do I start? But worse than that, even if they don't know where to start, how can I start? Because if they haven't got the power of attorney, it makes a really bad situation so much worse.
Well, that's the even worse thing, isn't it? Because your loved one is seriously poorly,
Yeah.
and now you
having
should be
to
just
deal
sat
with all
by their
that as well.
side,
Yeah.
dealing with them,
Yeah.
and now you're having to try and sort out bills and paying bills and sorting this out.
And you're just hitting brick walls.
Yeah.
This is what the information we get is heartbreaking, because it's like they've tried to do everything as you would, and of course every institution, whilst they will say they're sympathetic, and they probably are, but their hands are tied as
They
well.
can't.
They're not allowed to help.
They can't just suddenly go, well, look, just as a one-off, then I'll let... They're not going to do it. So unfortunately, again, you're either incapacitated with a lasting power of attorney, or you're incapacitated without.
And there's two lasting power of attorneys,
Yeah,
isn't
that's
there?
the money side of it, isn't
Which
it?
is what we came to you for, which is what I thought there only was. And then as you sat down and chat, and this is another reason to get in touch with Simpler Law, because you discover things that you just didn't even
You wouldn't
realise
know.
or think about. Yeah, things you wouldn't know. And then you explained there was a second lasting power of attorney, which to me is the more emotional side of
It
things.
is, yeah.
And I was like, Mum, we've got to do both. This is, to me, more important than the the financial side.
Yeah, this one's quite dear to me. I mean, it's to do with the health and welfare of that person as well. So, you know, you could be taking someone's identity away with not being able to give them what they would have done in normal life, you know, while they had capacity.
Day-to-day things.
Yeah.
How they like the hair, how they like the nails.
That's it, what they're going to eat. As you said earlier, you know, you could be a vegetarian, but if that's not available, you know, it's not an illness, it's not a, you know, a health issue at that point. It's a personal choice.
I had a friend who was in a terrible accident in her 40s, and that's always been a big issue wherever she's been, is the fact that she is vegetarian, because often they don't really cater. So they've got to sort of cater because
it's what's there and ready for them, isn't it? Yeah. So even down to being able to go out on a walk, on a visit, on a holiday.
Wasn't there a story about a nurse?
Yeah, Christmas.
Christmas.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. But
no, but it is. It's like an unbelievable story, really. But it was in the papers.
You can look up these stories; they're everywhere. But the nurse one stuck with us because she basically didn't ask anyone; just assumed she could get her mum out of the home and bring her home for Christmas Day. She's a nurse; she can care for her. It's her mum. It's only a day and a night, so she brought her away from the home. Of course, the home go to do whatever they're going to do, and like, where's she gone?
Right.
Bit of panic sets in. Can't get hold of anyone. Report her as missing. Technically, she was. Didn't know she was technically kidnapped at that point. And basically caught up with the daughter, with the mum in a supermarket car park on Christmas Eve. And of course,
it sounds crazy.
Yeah, and the nurse is going, but it's my mum. I'm just bringing her home. Look, we want her to be home for Christmas Day, you know. And it's like, well, you haven't got the power to do that. You haven't got the authority to just take your mum out of the care home and bring her to your house. These things in the health and welfare can sound quite trivial, like what you eat, what you wear. There can be some quite serious things in there as well about even like being able to confirm who you do and don't want to see. Because you, whilst you've got capacity, might have said, I never want to see this person again in my life, and be quite adamant about it. If that person learns that you're incapacitated,
it shows up.
Through spite, whatever, they might want to come and... So there's all these little things that sound quite trivial. Human nature is, though, when it's taken away from us, they get amplified. And actually, if you lost the power to decide what clothes you wore, where you lived, how you lived, what treatment you got,
what home
who you
saw, into,
yeah, all this kind of stuff, that's heightened.
Another story, it was a gentleman, he'd gone into hospital and he'd got a really unusual brain condition. And then in hospital, he was really, really poorly. And they actually said to his wife that they couldn't send him home. He was too poorly to say that he wanted to go home, and that
because he couldn't say it.
Yeah, and so they were going to keep him in hospital because, and she wanted him home, and she had to go through, which we'll talk through, the legal way of taking control to bring him home. And this has happened to someone I know just recently. They were like, you know, your husband can't come home because we don't think the house is suitable. And she said, well, I'll make the house suitable. I want him home. And they were like, no, we're going to put him into a home. And she was like, I've got lasting power of attorney. I want him home.
So she had a voice.
Yeah. And she wouldn't have had a voice if...
No, and I think this is the clear distinction between a will and lasting power of attorney is we know a will's going to be used. With a lasting power of attorney, we want to have them and hope it never needs to be. But the running theme is things like that. Whilst there's no good outcome to when a loved one's that poorly, the nice thing is because he had a lasting power of attorney, she went no, and what she knew he wanted to happen, what she wanted to happen, then happened because that document was in place. Human nature is bad stuff's always going to happen to somebody else.
Yeah.
The reason we do these shows is we say, look, we want to help you just plan for the worst and hope for the best. And, you know, to everyone else, they are everybody else, but, you know, we know that bad stuff's happening all the time, so...
What would happen if you haven't got lasting power of attorney and you want to step into their shoes, you want to start paying the bills, you want to sort out what home they're going into or what's happening to them in that home? How do you take control of that?
The process,
An obvious statement is a person who's been incapacitated by that condition now can't do anything. So the first thing that the incapacitated person's hoping is that it's someone they would have chosen for themselves that is actually going to go to the court and try and get what's called a deputyship order. Because obviously when you make a lasting power of attorney, if I wanted you three to be my attorneys, I document you three as my attorneys. I document how I want you to work and what conditions I want to put on that, etc. Because it's my document, but I want to donate my power to you three. Job done. Let's say I don't want Bob to be my attorney, but I don't make a lasting power of attorney. I'm just hoping that you three get to go to court, but actually Bob beats you there, or you didn't even know that was a process, or dare I say you're too busy to get there. So Bob goes to court, but whoever goes to court has to apply for something called a deputyship order through the Court of Protection, and that's a really expensive and really lengthy process.
And we're seeing the costs now.
Absolutely. Well, you can see that just to apply, and this is if you do it yourself, this is if you use no professional help whatsoever. So the person that's trying to look after the incapacitated individual has got to pay £421 just to apply to the court. There's a £100 assessment fee, and that's actually to assess you as much as it is the person that's incapacitated. Because by definition, the Court of Protection is there to protect the vulnerable person.
And you're paying all this because you can't borrow the person that's poorly's money. This is out of your
paying it out
pocket.
your own
You've got to find this at this point,
Yeah.
And quite often people will turn to a professional like ourselves, like solicitors, because the second that you see the application forms, it's like, well, where do I start? And again, all your energy is going into a court process rather than into your loved one. And so whilst it's incredibly expensive and can run into thousands and thousands of pounds, that, believe it or not, isn't the worst thing. It's the length of time that it's taking for these applications to be seen and granted, and it's still taking up to 12 months for that to be granted.
And surely for a lot of people, if someone's very poorly, you might have lost them before they've decided whether you can
And all your focus has been there.
Yeah, I'd like to say that doesn't happen often, but unfortunately that we see that a fair bit. And again, it's just heartbreaking because that's wasted time and wasted money. And if you could ask that person, if you could rewind the clock, would you have put a lasting power of attorney in place? We know what their answer would be. All that needs to happen, it gets registered with a body called the Office of the Public Guardian. There's an additional registration fee that they charge, but the most that they will charge is £92. In some cases, it's half of that, and in some cases, it's free.
Right.
But, you know, £92 in the big scheme of things is nothing compared to the thousands and the wait that you would have to do if you went through the Court of Protection. This isn't an insurance policy, but I call it a what-if document. You know, what if life throws you a curveball? Would you want to know that the people that you would want to step into your shoes are the people that are going to do that? So it's a document you want to have, but then hope that your family never need to use. That's the reality of it.
And it is complete peace of mind. It's when we did Mum's, just a weight.
Again, it's that weight lifted off your shoulders, and then you forget about it.
Yeah.
But it's there if you need it then, and hopefully you don't need it. That's the whole point. Of
My wife and I have had both types of lasting power of attorney ever since we've been together. We amended it when we had the children to involve other people as well, because it wasn't then just about us. But they've been in force now for the best part of 2 decades, and we just don't really think about it. We just touch wood and hope that they're never needed. But if life threw either of us a curveball, we know that we're taken care of by the people that we would choose to take care of us. And that's all the peace of mind that we need.
And again, do it now, because I think I've always thought it's something you need when you're older, but when you're older might be just too late. You don't know what's around the corner. So it's doing it right now and giving that peace of mind for yourself as well as your loved one if something terrible did happen.
It really is the time to do it, because these offers that we show you only up until close of business Friday, and these are our New Year special offers, an extra 20% off for the New Year offers that we've got for you. So the will itself, if you want to write yourself a legally binding will at such an affordable price, the suggested retail price, to be fair, is good at £249. The offer price normally would be £124, but we've got that extra 20% off for you, so it comes down to less than £100, £99. And then if you want to spread the cost interest-free, that's there for you as well, £24.75 on your first of 4 interest-free payments.
And that makes it so affordable, doesn't it? And if you think about what you spend £24.75 on, coffee, in an instant. You know, perhaps you popped into the shop for a bottle of milk and you came out spending £50 and you still haven't got a dinner there. It's so easy to spend that money, and what you've spent it on is something so important. Remember, if you haven't got a will, and we're going to go into this, there is a will that falls in place if you haven't written your own will. And sadly, it's a government will, which will not be anything like what you want to happen for what you've worked so hard for. Lasting power of attorney, we've just gone through that, and it's so important to get that sorted. Should be £349. Our regular price, £239, is our normal shop on TV price, but you have got that extra 20% off for New Year. Only up until close of business on Friday, but do it now, otherwise you'll forget. Friday will have come and gone and you've missed out, because it then goes down to £189. And again, you can split that cost, 4 payments of £47.25. But we've got a really good deal of the two together, and I think a lot of people do, as you watch the show, think, oh gosh, I'd like to do both of them, actually.
Both as important as each other. So for the will and lasting power of attorney, you can see the price should be just shy of £600. The offer price, £315, but with that New Year 20% discount, it comes down to £249. So £62.25 on your first of 4 interest-free payments, but only until the close of business on Friday.
And do it now. You know, life gets in the way. Tomorrow will come and go, and then all of a sudden it'll be February, and you'll think, oh gosh, I didn't do it. That, you know, the world just keeps on moving, and it's that first step. If you secure the prices now, you've done it. That's it. It's going to happen. You can just sit back and relax, and Simpler Law will get in touch. Another reason to do it right now is the first 250 people also get this book. And I think everybody, as soon as you start work, should have a book like this, because there's so much. I did say originally from birth, but it's perhaps a little bit too early. But so much information that this is for your loved ones, that they will need.
You'll put it all in one place, won't you? So you're not going to be hunting around, searching for everything. It's all the obvious things like life policies, bank accounts, but then it's also things like digital accounts. It could be house alarm codes, all those things.
So much is on your phone now, on tablets, you know, emails. It might be a really important letter you need. You're not going to find it around the house. It's going to be on an email. It might be a photograph that you know mum or dad or grandma or grandma, your brothers or sisters have got. Now none of you have got it because it's on their phone or tablet. And if you haven't got the code, you have got no ways or means of getting that information. And it's all in that book. And it's worth £25. Lots of people are then wanting to buy it if they miss out. It's the first 250 people that will actually get that. And it's so easy just to get in contact, secure the price, and make sure you've got that book on its way as well. And this is how you do it. You can either get in contact via the website, via the phones. If you're watching on Plus One, the phones are there and manned until 3 a.m, or you can text.
Yeah, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV will take you to the exclusive offers on their website. If you do want to text, as Hayley just said, that's the easiest way. Always the busiest way on these late night shows that we do. So text the word WILL, W-I-L-L, to 66777, whether it's a will or a lasting power of attorney. That'll secure the offers for you, and then the team will get back to you. As Hayley was saying, the team are in the call centre right through till 3 a.m, but if you're watching on Plus One, either go to the website or just text.
Yeah, texting is so easy, it's done. You're not having to speak to anybody. You've texted the word WILL, 66777. You can get on with today, you can get off to work, or you can go to bed, whichever way you're going, and you know what you've done is you've taken that first step to make sure it actually does get done professionally as well, which is so important. You can go via our website if you're used to going via our website. All you need to do is go onto that first page, scroll halfway down, and you'll find halfway down there's a row of our partners, and Simpler Law are right there. Click on there and it takes you through to a really easy form to fill in.
And those exclusive offers that we've got for you. So just click on there, go through. There's a little form for you to fill in, just a few details.
I can answer all those questions. I've passed the test.
You've passed the test.
And then you just submit that form, and again, you've done it. That's all you need to do right now. We put things off, and if you put things off, they never happen. It's not because you don't want to do them. It's just because we put them off, and then it's too late. The time's gone. It'll already be summer. You know how the year just goes so quickly. Do it right now, because you just don't know what is around the corner. And sadly, if it is too late, that's when it all goes horribly wrong. And that's when there can be family upsets and family fallouts, and what you want to happen, you know, if it's a will and you haven't written a legally binding will, what you want to happen is never going to happen, but something is going to happen.
Yeah, the government will. The rules of intestacy will fall into place, and it's simply a series of yes/no questions that don't really work for anyone.
Well, they won't work for us straight away. We will fail on the first question because they'll say, "Are you married?" And though we've been together 35 years, the fact that we're not married, now we're not entitled to either of each other's money, but it's ours. And my family know all mine is Sean's. Sean's family know all Sean's is mine. But the government will say, well, I'm sorry, we don't see that's not going to happen. But actually, it's more complicated than that. If you think, well, I'm married with children, it gets really complicated if you're married with children from different relationships. There's so many things. This is how, you know, when you hear those stories and all of a sudden that person that lived down the road, all of that house, all that money, everything went to that long-distance related cousin, third cousin, second cousin, fifth cousin in Australia. And you're like, well, I'd never heard of them. I don't think that they ever met them, because it will go along the bloodline and it makes things... How can one will, and it is just one will, be right for all and everybody? It just can't be. But that is what happens.
That's why it's so important to work with experts who specialise in the field of estate planning, and that's what you're doing tonight with Simpler Law. If you've thought about writing a will and the thought's been there but you just haven't got round to it, or maybe you think it's going to be too expensive, all those problems are solved for you tonight.
Or too complicated, honestly.
Yeah.
It's so easy, and as you've seen, so affordable as
and
well.
taking that first step is all you've got to do.
But so important. You see it all the time. I think we're hearing it more in the news, and I just saw it on Facebook the other day. Not somebody I knew, someone had just put on, please, they're saying, thank you for all your condolences. They'd lost a loved one, but they were like, please, I know perhaps this isn't the right time to write it, but write a will. This has happened 3 times in my family, where 3 people we've lost and none of them wrote a will, and it's just made life so difficult. Because that's the truth, isn't it? If you haven't written a will, it can make it so hard for the people you leave behind.
Yeah, having a will doesn't lessen the bereavement. What it does, it doesn't add to an already difficult time, because, as you quite rightly said, when you pass away in one of 2 states. You either pass away with a valid will that you've put in place, you've exercised your testamentary freedom in the UK, and you've created your own will that's bespoke to you, tailor-made for your family. Your last act on planet Earth is then yours. Or the other state is you didn't make your own will, therefore the backstop, the default position is you passed away with a government will. So there has to be an outlet, there has to be a default position, otherwise there'll be anarchy. So you either pass away with your own will or you pass away with a government will. And there is no in-between of that, unfortunately.
And that government will, everyone will go, that's ridiculous. How can that happen? They've been together forever. How could they not be entitled to each other? But they're a family, even though they're from different relationships. That should have gone to all the children. We'd all say it's crazy, but then you say there has to be something, and you think, well, there does have to be something.
And they have tried to review it as well, but the permutations start getting quite ridiculous, because the form is already quite convoluted with a load of yes/no questions, but it all starts with your marital status and essentially is dictated by your bloodline, so ultimately there's a destination. But how do you start going, well, is this applicable for married couples with children together? Or is this applicable for married couples with children together and children from previous relationship? Or is this applicable to married couples with only children from previous relationship? How is this applicable to couples that are cohabiting but not married and have got children from different... And that's why we have testamentary freedom in the UK, which means we can write our own wills, and we should. And, you know, if you're listening to me at this early hour of the morning, you know, they say ignorance is bliss, but also ignorance can be dangerous. And calling someone ignorant sounds like being rude, but I'm ignorant to virtually everything, apart from what I do for a living. And my colleagues would argue I'm ignorant of this. But unfortunately now, if you're listening to me and you've watched some of this show, and that's the reason we do these, you can't claim ignorance anymore, because we've told you, and we're not lying, that if you pass away without making your own will, the government are going to step in and say, that's the will that you've got to distribute your estate to. And it won't care about your family and won't care about you. So you know you can get out of that now. That's why we do these shows. So if you've been thinking about making a will for a while, or you're still thinking about it now, do yourself a favour and take the hardest step, which is to stop thinking about it and just do it.
Yeah.
The easiest thing is to text the word will to 66777 tonight, and we'll take care of the rest. And that, for me, is actually the hardest step of the whole process. Because from there, we'll book an appointment with you that's convenient for you. We'll hold your hand through the whole process, make sure you're happy with the entire consultation. That means that we'll ask you all the questions, you've got all the answers. If we've got advice to give you along the way, we'll give you that advice. It's up to you how much of that advice you take. You'll take all of it, some of it, or none of it. But at the end, you're guaranteed to get a will that's yours. Therefore, your last act on planet Earth is also going to be yours. It's going to be your will that's read, not a government will.
And it's your last gift to your loved ones.
It's a huge gift, yeah.
And
To yourself as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and
It's
even
that
if you've
weight
told
lifted.
everybody, you might be at home thinking, well, it's all right, my family knows, I've told them what I want to happen.
Terrifying,
It's
that.
sadly, there's lots of misconceptions, and, you know, we thought because we'd lived together for 2 years and common law, husband and wife, not married, you know, we just thought it'd be all right. No. But if you're married and you've got children, and lots of people now have got children from previous relationships and children together, they might all live together as one big happy family.
Yeah.
Again, or you might just have 2 children, but they're from different relationships. Again, with the government will, it's definitely not going to work there, is it?
We spoke to some clients literally this week, and they were quite upset because she lost her dad when they were young, so her mum was widowed. Her mum went on to remarry, and they'd been nagging her mum to make a will. And sadly, her mum's passed away, and her mum's passed away without a will. Everything that her parents worked for has now gone to her stepfather, who she hasn't particularly got a relationship with.
No.
And he's just gone missing with everything.
Oh, that's made my hair's gone
So
out.
it's all just so all of her parents' wealth has ended up with somebody else.
And her mum, I'm sure, would not have wanted that.
No, and we'll never know, because we'll never know. Did she just assume that her husband was going to do forgive the speech marks, but the right thing?
Yeah.
Of course.
So that's why making a will is so important. Is the only way to control what happens when you're not here is to document it today and make sure that the last act on planet Earth is yours, and not set of government rules that's all it's interested in is just making sure there's an outlet. It doesn't care about any of us, whether it's us 4 around this table or whether it's anyone watching this morning. It doesn't care about us because it can't.
I
It's just a
remember
backstop.
another story as well, and this was a lady, and she'd been married, but they'd separated. She'd been living with her partner now for years, longer than she'd been married, but she didn't die, but she realised just in time that had she passed, everything, it wouldn't have gone to the partner she'd been
She
with
was still married, wasn't she?
for more years than
Yeah.
her husband. It would have gone to her husband that she separated from years ago.
She didn't see herself as married anymore. But again, it's about the legal
Legally
status.
she
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
yeah.
Legal status.
So
she
the
was,
government would have said, "Are you married?" And she was, but to the husband
Yeah.
from decades ago.
yeah. We see that a lot, and we see people that still own a property jointly with previous partners but don't understand the implications of that. That's why it's really important to take professional advice on this. And to make sure that what you want to happen is going to happen. You know, it's very rare that we meet people and they say, "Oh, I was given what I've got, so I'm not really bothered." You know, most people that we speak to have worked hard for it. You know, you think about it, you know, we go to work, we pay our tax on that, then what money we've got we'll often pay to a mortgage if we want to own a house, and we'll pay interest on that, and then we sit back and we've got this nice thing, and then we don't guarantee that it's going to go to our children. It seems
crazy,
ludicrous.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like,
Yeah.
why buy it in the
When you
first
say it
place?
like that,
Why
yeah.
buy it in the first place? Make sure that
What's the
it's
point?
Going,
Yeah.
make sure it's going to go
Because
to
so
where you
many
want it
people,
to
that
go.
is so important, but to so many people, they would presume what they want to happen is going to happen, but sadly,
The clients I was told about this week, she's a range of emotions, this poor woman, because she's between grief, anger,
Raging.
bitterness, and you know, and she's gone and it's dug up all the things from when she lost her dad, and you know, and everything that she thought was going to happen and what was going to come down to them, and whether that's a callous thought or not, they thought that wealth was going to come into their family, which was expected, and the stepfather's just inherited everything and then has now disappeared. So he's like, well, you're not my family, and you never were. I've got everything now. See you later.
Yeah.
And everyone's going, well, that's not right. It's not fair. But that's what the law's
that's
done
the
because
government
that's the
will
government
that
will.
fell into place
Yeah.
because
She passed
mum
away.
hadn't
It left
written a
everything to
will.
her spouse, and now her children are disinherited. And it's fixable with a text.
Yeah, exactly.
So again,
tonight.
if you're watching tonight, the planets have aligned. You've got an opportunity.
And we don't need to know anything, do we? You
Nothing
make it
at
all
all.
so easy. We don't need to find, you know, letters, information. It's...
If you think your situation is really complicated, I assure you it's not, is it, Emma? Because we've seen it all.
Yeah.
If you think it's really complicated, don't let that put you off. If you think it's really simple, we go into a bit of a panic. Because it's quite often when someone will go, oh, you're going to love me because this is going to be dead straightforward, and you see the consultant going,
they'll be the more difficult cases, won't they? Yeah.
Every single time. Whereas the ones that believe their situation's really quite complex, they go, yeah, we can do that, and they're like, really?
Yeah.
And it's sorted. But the fact of the matter is, we can't magic it. We can't do it by telepathy. So please take the hardest step. You can't do it yesterday because that's gone. You can't do it tomorrow because it never comes. You can only do it now.
Yeah.
And if you go to bed on this tonight, you're going to wake up tomorrow and life's going to get in the way. So you've got an opportunity right now. If the phone's in your hand, text the word will to 66777. Or the team are they're in the office now.
Yeah.
Phone 0333 600 2600. Speak to them. You'll get a feel for us. And if at any point you don't like what we're doing, you don't like the process, just say, do you know what, it's not for me, I'll have my money back, please, and we'll give you your money back.
And we should do it with a company like yourselves, even though we could go out and buy...
The templates?
Yeah, that we fill in ourselves. We could buy those, couldn't we? Why shouldn't we buy those?
No, I think you should. I think they're a great idea. I've just downloaded a video on how to pull a tooth. I'm not going to a dentist ever again. I'm sorry.
But it does. Because
it's a strange thing. You know what? I think this tax year, somewhere in the region of £9 billion is expected to go to the Treasury just in inheritance tax receipts. Now, there are allowances that we all have for inheritance, and there are extra allowances. So the first thing I would ask anyone who's thinking of writing a template is, do you know, are you actually making use of the full inheritance tax allowances? I would also ask them, do they understand the difference between first death and second death? Because we'll explain all this if you're making gifts. So unless you are a qualified will writer, I don't know why you would write a will. In the same way that if I have a problem with my car, it's going to a garage. Yeah. And, you know, I joke, but if I have a problem with my tooth, I'm going to a dentist. You know, and if I want to make sure that I've got a will in place, I'm going to speak to someone that's like in Emma's team who's been highly trained. We've got industry-specific qualifications. We've written over 300,000 wills. We carry £5 million professional indemnity insurance, and this is all we do. So we're specialists in this area. You don't come to us for anything else.
Because you could so easily just write it wrong, couldn't you? You
know, get it wrong.
You know
when it's too late, it's too late, isn't it?
I mean, even down to just not having it signed properly.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
it's invalid then, isn't it?
If you contact us tonight, we will contact you, and we'll book an appointment in at a time to suit you. Yeah. We'll confirm how we work. We'll confirm everything to you. We'll make sure you're happy with everything, and we'll confirm that everything we do is fully insured. We're insured for up to £5 million. So if we make a mistake, you and your beneficiaries are covered, and touch wood, we'd never have. So that's the first thing. Then you're going to speak to someone who specialises in this, who's going to hold your hand through the whole process, not in a patronising way, and go at a speed to suit you. Some people are like, bang, 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 done, there's my will. Other people need to think about stuff and want to, you know, take the time.
And you give them the time to do
Yeah, we understand. We don't lose sight of the fact that this might be the first, possibly the only time that you do this. Whereas we're doing it every single day. So we'll go through this consultation process with you, make sure you're happy with all the advice that we've given you, and make sure you're happy with all the instructions you've given us. We then produce the document, check you received it okay, and we help you get it signed, dated and witnessed correctly. And we offer all of that service within this price.
Brilliant.
Within the comfort of their own home as well. They don't even have to come into an office.
We often forget to say that.
So it's not a case of coming into an office to see you. It's either on the phone or a video call.
And you're going to make a fully informed decision at the end of it, and it's going to be your professionally drafted will. Legal, professionally bound. It's going to be amazing. It's fantastic. Believe it or not, it's one of the most amazing things you can do for your family. You won't believe it, but you can't fully understand the value of a will until the point of need. But you've got to have it in place. If you make your own will through a template, you've got none of that.
No.
You've got all the responsibility. You've got to understand every nuance of...
You don't have the knowledge, do you? You know, the things that can go wrong.
I lifted the bonnet of my car and go, oh, that's nice.
Let's get an expert.
We're all built differently as well. You know, I affectionately refer to myself as a geek. You know, I'm very fortunate because I love what I do, and I'm quite passionate about what I do because I know how this, what appears to be a relatively simple document, I know how amazing, powerful it can be, and how game-changing it can be for families. You know, if you could see two families, one that's passed away with a will, one that's passed away without a will, and you had a choice of which emotion and which dynamic would you want to be a part of, everyone would go for the, I want that, I want the will, I want everything where it's all sorted and there's no ambiguity and there's no arguments and everything's just done. Whereas passing away without a will, it can just be the worst thing ever at an already terrible time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take the risk with the template. I don't see.
No, and the more upsetting
still have
thing
to
is,
pay for 'em as well.
You still have to pay for them, and you know what you wanted, but you've written it down wrong, and it still doesn't happen. So that's in a way even worse, isn't it, than not writing a will at all? You've tried to write it, but not done it right.
The heartbreaking things that we hear quite often is, Mum said this to us and thought that saying it to us was enough, or Dad said this to us. So everyone's aware of what the wishes are, because it's not documented, it didn't work. And the almost worse than that is, you're right, they've taken the time to sit down and write a will, which means they could have taken the time to sit down and speak to one of our team, but they've taken the time to sit down and write it, and something isn't right. It's either not signing dated and witness correctly, or they've misunderstood something, or they've written it in lay terms, which has created ambiguity within how legally it's processed. One way or another, it's failed. And that's heartbreaking, because you can see what they were trying to achieve, and they knew they needed a will to achieve it, but it went wrong. And I'm not scaremongering. You can look for yourselves that a big proportion of wills that fail are ones that people have tried to do themselves. In the same way that my car wouldn't go very far if I tried to service it.
Exactly. And that means the intention was there, but it's just not been carried out. It's so sad in that situation. We did talk about when you do have your appointment, it's all about the team who you deal with, the client care team.
Really.
Yeah. And you were put so at ease by the people you dealt with doing your mum's power of attorney. We've got loads of reviews that we can share
But don't
with you.
mention simpler law as such, actually mention the personal person that they were dealing with, which I think makes you understand just how good the company is and the team that are there.
Let's take a look at some of those reviews that we're talking about. This is what Eunice said. My experience from start to finish was fantastic. They made me feel at ease with something that isn't easy to do for anybody. Jack is a credit to the company. He helped me to sort the problems I had and was happy to answer all the questions that I had. This is what we're talking about, the people on the team who you deal with. And once you're assigned someone from the client care team, you will be with that person all the way through.
Yeah, and if you've got an extra question to ask, I was emailing, oh gosh, I forgot to ask this. I never once felt I was asking a daft question. They put you so at ease.
This one from Lisa. Brilliant service from Michael at Simpler Law. Helpful, professional and friendly. Answered all our questions and gave us time to think when we needed it. Will all sorted and much easier than we thought it would be. Thank you, Michael. I'll be recommending you to friends. And this is the point. So many people say that as well. So many people recommend Simpler Law once they've gone through the process. Julie said, after making an appointment, I spoke to Sam about making a will. He phoned bang on time and was informative, knowledgeable and helpful. He was patient, listened to my questions and made the whole process very easy. He was polite and courteous and a credit to Simpler Law. All-round excellent customer service. And that's what you want to hear when it's something that's so important. And all you've got to do today is take that first step.
And the really great thing is, it is so affordable as well. I think sometimes you just think it's going to be financially out of reach, and we thought doing a will would be thousands, but normal prices actually aren't where you would think they would be with Simpler Law. But wait till you see the Shop on TV deal and the New Year Extra, which is an extra 20% off. So to know that what you've worked so hard for, and it might be actually as well, it's not just about money, it's about your pets, it's about family heirlooms. What you want to happen is going to happen. At full price, £249, worth every penny of that. But our regular Shop on TV price, the normal price, £124. But look at this. With the 20% off for New Year, only up until close of business on Friday, so I'd get in contact now so you don't forget, you will get that price of £99 and you can split that cost over 4 payments. So £24.75 is the first of those 4 payments, just making it so affordable. And that's money that you would spend on coffees or you'd spend when you popped into the shop to get a bottle of milk. But actually what you've done is you've written a legally binding will. Don't forget, if you haven't written a will, the government will falls into place. You've got a will, but it's not one you'd want. You would want to spend £99 and make sure what you want to happen actually happens. Then lasting power of attorney, we're going to go into detail about that.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. So if you've heard of lasting power of attorney, not sure what it is, or you've been thinking about getting it, we'll talk about that in just a moment for you. The price, suggested retail price, the usual price, £349. And our offer price would be £239, but we've got that extra 20% off as part of the New Year special. Perfect time to take advantage of these offers at the beginning of a new year. £189, then comes down to £47.25 on your first of 4 interest-free payments if you choose to spread the cost.
And then if you do carry on watching and you've already got in contact, and really what you mentioned was you wanted a will, and now you stay with us for the next few minutes and you listen about lasting power of attorney and think, oh gosh, I wish I'd said actually I'd go for both. As long as you get in contact, and I would say do it today, because it finishes at close of business on Friday, these deals, but I'd do it today, otherwise you'll forget and it'll be Saturday and Sunday before you know it. What you can do is, say, well, actually, can I put the lasting power of attorney on? And they will actually honour the price you see there on your screen. It should be £598. £315 is our normal shop on TV price. But you can see there with the extra 20% off, which is the first time we've done 20% off, it's down to £249. And you can split that cost over 4 payments to £62.25. And that's allowing you to get the will and the lasting power of attorney. Don't forget, the first 250 people will receive that book, and that book is great again for your family with all the information that they will need when you do pass. That's only to the first 250 people, so that's another reason to get in contact right now. And to get in contact is so easy too.
It really is. It's dead straightforward. Take that first step right now. Do it right now, and you've started the process. So a couple of different ways for you to get in touch, but all really simple and easy for you. First of all, you can go to Simpler Law directly on their website, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV. That'll take you straight through to those exclusive offers that we were just talking about and those exclusive prices, but only till close of business on Friday.
And then you can call now the team. If you're watching on +1, the team are there till 3 a.m. It's 0333 600 2600. You might have a couple of questions to ask. They can answer those couple of questions. But remember, you don't need any information. You just want to say, well, actually, yes, I want to do a will. I want to do my lasting power of attorney. Can I secure those prices? And they will. And again, they'll get back to you later on today or in the next couple of days to sort out a day that's convenient to sit down and chat. So if you are going away on holiday, lucky you, in the next few days for a couple of weeks, that's fine. Because what you can do, obviously, is get in contact now, secure the price, and then what you'll find is they'll sort out a day that's right for you to sit down and really talk about it. But do you know the easiest way to get in contact? It's texting. And I'm not a great speller, but I can spell will. And that is all you need to text to 66777. And that is it. That's you secure. You've secured the prices and you've made that first step. And I say this 100 times, but honestly, we have got the worst stair carpet and hall carpet that is so worn, it's embarrassing. And we haven't had it done, not because we don't want it done. We desperate. We'll go home. We'll go home this morning and we will open the door and think, oh God, look at that carpet. We desperately want it done, but we just don't get round to that one thing. Either getting someone to come round or going into a shop and choosing a carpet.
And this is so much more important than a carpet.
You're so much more important than carpet. But you just put things off. And you want them. They're important. One day, with will-wise, sadly, or lasting power of attorney-wise, one day it will just be too late. And it will be something you really do regret, and we'll explain why. But please, with those prices, and it's so easy to get in contact, just secure those prices, and that first step's done, and it's going to get done. That's the biggest thing.
And remember, you can go through our website if you wish, if that's the way you normally shop, shopontv.co.uk. Go to the homepage that you see there, just scroll down, you'll come to our on-screen partners, click on the Simpler Law logo that you see in the middle there, takes you straight through to those exclusive offers that we've been talking about. If you are watching on +1, the easiest way to get in touch is either by texting or going to the website, or you can go through that form that you see right there on our website. But do it right now. Don't let life get in the way. Don't miss out on these exclusive deals that we've
Well,
got.
how can we be so far into January already? You know, the time just goes so quickly, and so quickly it can just be too late, and it'll be, I think, a regret. Even if you've passed, because I really do believe you stay and look over us, and you'll be devastated to think you knew what you wanted to happen. You knew who you wanted to have certain things and how you wanted to split everything. And perhaps you told your family, but now you're watching the government will fall into place, and none of that is happening. And it would break your heart, and all you need to do was actually sit down and get that will sorted, which you can do just so easily. But lasting power of attorney is something we'd only heard of because of somebody else's unfortunate story where it did go all horribly wrong. And perhaps you're the same, or perhaps you're thinking, I've heard of it, but what is it?
And when you hear what this is, you'll hear how important it is, just as important as going for a will. So we'll get Emma to explain if you're not quite sure what lasting power of attorney is. And I think a lot of people have heard the term, but they're not quite sure what it means.
I think so. So with this, it's a document that you would basically put in place while you have what we call mental capacity. You know, you're still fully aware of what you're doing day to day, but if you was to lose mental capacity, you wouldn't be able to do certain things. So this document then allows you, as a donor, you're called in the document, to give somebody of your choice, somebody that you trust, they're an attorney, so you can have one or more, and they basically step into your shoes. So in the eyes of the Institute, so day-to-day life as we know it, dealing with utility companies, if we're talking about, property and finance.
Yeah, because there are two, aren't there?
Yeah, there are.
We'll go over the property and finance one first.
Yeah.
And when we look at just some of the things that you can see here, this is what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, so as you can see on the screen there, you can still claim benefits and pensions, any allowances. You can open and close any sort of banks, that sort of thing. We can deal with the property, whether that's buying or selling or just paying the mortgage itself, dealing with the bills. If you're self-employed and you've still got to do your tax returns and stuff.
And what it says at the bottom there explains it perfectly. Essentially, you choose someone you trust to manage your affairs, and in the eyes of those institutions and companies that they deal with, they become you.
Very powerful statement.
It is, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Especially when you read it aloud, I think it really clears it.
Because if you were, married, or you're thinking about your mum, your dad, and perhaps you look after them now, or it's your partner, you think automatically, if it was my mum, I look after mum now. Everybody knows I've got mum's best interests at heart. Surely I can sort all those things out for her. Now she can't do it herself.
No.
But then when you really think about it,
logically,
there's no way I can go into a bank and sort any of those, or speak to anybody, actually. I spoke to her mobile phone company today, and they don't want to speak to me. They want to speak to mum, and that was about nothing important at all. So to do something really serious...
I think that is a big misconception, especially a married couple. I couldn't go into my husband's bank account.
And what about if you had a joint account? You had to presume, or automatically, well, that'd be fine, we've got a joint account.
Not necessarily. Because obviously, the person has lost capacity, they're now classed as vulnerable.
Right.
So they will probably freeze that account to make sure that the vulnerable person is protected, that you're not taking all the money out of it. Absolutely.
They have to go to a dark place and not assume that actually you're happily in love and everything's equitable.
Yeah.
They've got, the second that someone loses capacity, they have to be protected, and understandably so.
Yeah.
Sometimes we sort of throw away comments like, oh, it's OK because Mom's told me a PIN number. And I understand that, so it means, all right, you can use your mum's bank card to go to the hole in the wall, but property and financial affairs is a bit more than being able to make a cash withdrawal from the bank. It's every other institution that you're dealing with. And it's only, unfortunately, when someone loses capacity that you realise how difficult, how complex that can be. And again, having a lasting power of attorney in place doesn't diminish someone losing capacity through illness or accident. But what it does is it doesn't exacerbate and make that situation worse, because that person said, no, I want these people who I love and trust to step into my shoes, and that's essentially what happens. it's a what-if document.
Yeah.
That's what I call
You
it.
hope you never have to use it.
Yeah.
And that's how we felt when we did Mums. It was
Yeah.
that peace of mind, that weight off your shoulders, and then we've forgotten about it completely. It's there if we need it. We hope we will never ever need it. But when we came to you, we came for the financial side because I didn't realise there was any other lasting power of attorney. But actually, when we sat down, and again, this is why you should deal with Simpler Law, because you learn.
This is how all these things come to light,
things
isn't
you
it?
don't know. There's a second lasting power of attorney that, to me, when you spoke about it, I was like, Mum, this is, to me, more important than financial.
Yeah.
We need to do both. And that second one is more about your welfare or your loved one's welfare.
That's it. It's the health and welfare, that one. So it's more about the care that they're going to receive, you know, down to what they're going to eat, what they're going to wear, you know.
The home they go into, if they have to go into a home.
If they need to go into a home, yeah. How far away is it? You know, what if you couldn't drive, but you wanted to go and see your mum or your dad, sorry, your loved one? You know, it might be really far away. So things like just going on holiday, or you know, like Ian said earlier, what if you are, you know, estrayed from a family member
And you don't want
to see them? Yeah.
Right.
And I've seen a couple of stories, even one very close to me with a you know, a family friend, where they've said in hospital that you know, there's no way the partner can come home because they're too poorly to say they want to come home, and having lasting power of attorney, you can say, well, actually, I know they want to come home.
Yeah.
They want to be
That's it.
at home, and it gives you that control, doesn't it, back?
It does, yeah. And then they've still got their, you know, their identity then, haven't they? And they've got their loved ones around them looking after them. So they are very, very powerful documents. And as we said, we hope you never have to use them. But if you don't have them in place, it could be so much worse.
So the process, if it's not in place, it means you have to apply to the courts. Is that right?
Someone that is willing to step forward would go to what's called the Court of Protection and have to apply for what's called a deputyship order. That's a really expensive process, but I think worse than the cost for me is the length of time that the courts are taking to process the applications.
It's not speedy.
It's far from
And you're already
expeditious.
in a situation where your loved one's really poorly. You just want to be there for them, don't you?
Yeah, this is the thing that we have a Court of Protection department. Sadly, we help people deal with this, but it's always heartbreaking when you're hearing that, you know, the family members having to take time out to deal with the court process or even deal with us to help get everything through when all their energy should be going towards the loved one.
Okay, yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of money, there's a lot of time.
We just saw those costs. There's a lot of money that you have to personally find because you obviously can't borrow your loved one's money.
Yeah, but by definition, you're at the Court of Protection because you haven't got access to their money and it's all stopped, essentially. And sadly, this is one of those things that, again, and I understand the assumption, it happens all too often because people just think, my wife, my partner, my children, it will be okay.
Yeah.
But sadly, it's just not. And when it is too late, it is too late. So you can't then retrospectively make a lasting power of attorney. No one else can do it for you, so you have to do it today. It's one of these documents that you want to have in place and then hope that you never need to use them. You know, it'd be wonderful if we could see into the future and go, do you know what? Everything was perfect. I don't need them. That's great. But none of us can say that. So it's planning for the worst, but absolutely hoping for the best. You know, and weirdly, the best outcome is my family never needed to use lasting powers of attorney. Yeah. And whilst it sounds silly to say it's a good thing, but if life threw you that curveball, what a good job you actually did that, because you've just made a really bad situation not worse. Yeah. And you also know yourself that it's people that you trust and love that are going to step into your shoes and nobody else.
Because
Yeah,
anybody can step forward, can't they?
Within reason, yeah, because the Court of Protection's there to assess, is this person
Could
the
be
right...
a sister or brother that you've fallen out with that you wouldn't want anywhere near your money
Oh,
or
we've
anywhere.
got loads of stories. We've got cases where someone has gone, if you like, almost behind the father's back and gone to the Court of Protection, and then it's transpired that there's a lasting power of attorney in the bottom of a drawer somewhere, and they've not fully done it right. So, you know, it's not a flawless system neither. So, but again, we'll talk to our clients about, you know, where they're going to keep the document. Do they want to register it straight away? Do they want to keep it safe until then? We'll hold your hand through the whole process. The important thing is to get it drafted, make sure it's signed, dated and witnessed correctly, and we'll validate it for
And
you.
that's another great point, Ian, because when Hayley did it with her mum, the registration, the whole process was brilliant. It came to the signatures, and it could have gone so wrong. Because
And only because...
It was all Hayley's fault.
It wasn't my fault at all. We'd lived next door to a family for years. My mum had seen this girl grow up. She's a dear friend, family friend. But we never knew that she didn't go by her proper name. She swapped her middle and her first name round. So when she signed it all, she sort of signed it one way and then wrote it another way. And then and luckily you saw that, and we could correct it, because it was it would have been incorrect.
Again, the Office of Public Guardian, and quite rightly, it's a bureaucratic machine and it's very meticulous, and it has to be right. If it's not right, they're within the rights to reject it. So we check for things like that, and if we think it's not going to be right or there's potential for it being rejected, we'll either check or we'll immediately just correct it. And when there's names the wrong way around, it's like, right, OK, we'll fix that.
We need to do that, yeah.
And, we'll just do that. And again, that's just part of the service that we provide. It's really important, if you're going to get these documents drafted, that they're going to work. Where today, lasting powers of attorney are actually documents that replace something called an enduring power of attorney. But more than 20 years ago, we were drafting enduring powers of attorney for our clients.
Right.
We're registering those today.
Gosh.
So whilst it's not a nice thing, family members are phoning us up and saying, we found this storage certificate, my dad's just been diagnosed with dementia, we were looking around for stuff, has he got anything with you? And we go, yes, he's got an enduring power of attorney, and we're registering that, and by the way, it named you as the attorney. So, it sounds weird to say it's rewarding because someone's lost capacity, but what a brilliant thing that client did, and how good that now we can just do it. But that's what happens. People do it today and forget about it. Yeah. But 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, it might be needed. Hopefully it never will be. But you've got to have it in the first place to have that peace of mind.
And I know I got in my head, I thought, oh, it's for older people, but that's completely wrong, isn't it? Because you just don't know. My friend was 40 when she was really seriously injured. You just don't know when those things are going to happen, so it's so important now.
Yeah.
Do it now, whatever.
Oh God, yeah,
whatever.
Do it now. Do it today.
You don't have to wait until you're older. That's the point.
Life can be so cruel. I mean, last year my wife and I couldn't believe what was happening around us. We were the epitome of it's happening to everybody else, and panicking that something else was going to happen. The bad luck that our friends and family had last year was just mind-blowing. Yeah. But then you realise that's happening to everyone. Yeah. At some point, it just happened to be close to us last year.
And there's no age limit to it. It
no,
just happens to anybody at any point.
Absolutely heartbreaking. But we will ensure and we will protect tangible things that, in the big scheme of things, aren't that important. All right, it's winter now, so maybe boiler insurance is important. But, we'll protect phones, we'll take out pet insurance, and I'm not going to start with pet owners. But,
we insure so many things, don't we?
We'll insure all these things that we can touch and see, and sometimes we forget about ourselves. And this, whilst it's not an insurance policy, this is that, what if something bad did happen in the future? And you're right, when it comes to age, youth doesn't protect you against...
No.
And do you know what? The age onset thing of, like, dementia, obviously, that gets more. I think it's 1 in 11 people now will be affected directly or indirectly once they're over 65. That's how prevalent dementia is, sadly. But I think the youngest case in the UK now is in the 20s.
Yeah.
So whilst that's fairly isolated, you just never know.
Don't know.
So if you don't want to take that chance, because it's a risk either way, let's be honest, if you have them, you're hoping you never need to use them. If you decide not to have them, you're hoping nothing ever happens to you. Well, I'd rather be the person that has them and then hopes I never need them. Plan for the worst and hope for the best.
First, just a weight off your shoulders, and again, so affordably as well, because you have got extra special deals only up until the close of business on Friday. But do get in contact now, otherwise you tend to forget, don't you? The world will start again when you get up, in the morning, and then all of a sudden it'll be next week, it'll be February, then it'll be spring, then you'll be booking your summer holiday, and one day it's all just too late, isn't it? You should have done it, but you didn't, and another year's gone. So do it right now, and do it whilst you've got these deals. You've got a really special New Year extra, because we've got an extra 20 20% off.
Yeah, the offers are great, especially at this time of year, because it is that time when we want to make those differences. And taking that first step today, well, it's just the right thing to do, isn't it? If you want to write your will for less than £100, it is suggested retail price of £249. The offer price should be £124, but with that extra 20% off, the New Year offer brings it down to £99. And you've also got the opportunity to spread that cost over 4 interest-free instalments, £24.75 on your first of 4 payments if you do want to spread the cost.
That's 1 coffee a week for me, I'm embarrassed to say.
Oh, don't.
I stop at a certain coffee chain when I'm driving to the
What
office.
do they put in there? My word.
Well,
Gold.
I will confess, I do cringe a little bit when I hear it come out of my... And I do change the way I say it. I say, could I have a coconut vanilla latte with an extra shot,
goodness.
please? Which I've embarrassed myself on live TV by saying it. It's a
And you
little
can
bit
only have
pretentious.
one a week for like £25.
I limit myself to 1 a week because of the cost. Because I'm the idiot that won't buy a can of coffee unless it's on offer,
But you'll
but
buy
we'll pay £6 plus for 1 cup just because I'm on the road and I like it. But if you think about that, it's not a joke. You know, if it's £24.75 a month for just those 4 payments, for me that's 1 coffee a week.
That's crazy.
And that's the value for money in having a will and what a will can achieve. That's
it.
It's a brand new year. It is a proper New Year bargain. You know, I've not put a tick in the box for the gym. I've definitely not put a tick in the box for not drinking alcohol. I was going to try dry January. No. So we'll keep pushing away. But this is an actual easy tick to put in the box for this is the year that I put my estate planning in place. This is an easy one to do. Just send the word will to 66777. We'll call you back. And you've done something amazing for yourself and your family this year.
Yeah, remember, you do need to secure those deals, and I would do it right now. Whether you're going for will, whether you're going for the lasting power of attorney that we've just been talking about, that's a great price. Should be £349. Our normal price there is £239. You've got the New Year 20% off, so £189 is your price, and you split that to 4 payments, which again making it so affordable. So it's £47.25 is the first of those 4 payments, which is fantastic. But then if you do decide, and you might have been watching for a little while, you might have got in contact and said, yes, I want to do my will, and now you've listened about the lasting power of attorney and wished you'd done will and lasting power of attorney, because look at your saving here. That's fine, as long as you've secured the prices, you will be able to choose whichever option you want to go for. They'll honour the price. If you think, well, actually, I do want to do lasting power of attorney, well, they'll be fine. Should be $598. Regular price $315. But down to, I mean, we're saving more than we're spending.
Way more than we're spending, yeah. It comes down to $249 with that extra New Year offer, and that comes down to $62.25 on your first of 4 interest-free payments if you do wish to spread the cost. Like Hayley said, once you've registered, all of those offers will be honoured for you. Also, if you're one of the first 250 clients, you'll also receive that book, What My Family Should Know. That's brilliant. In that book, you've got your bank details, you've got your pensions, you've got things like passwords
Again,
in there,
it's
digital accounts.
Yeah, peace of mind for your family. All the things they'll be hunting for, they don't have to hunt. It's in that book. You've written it down. And passwords or pass numbers for tablets and phones, so important nowadays, because so much information is there, and it's in that book. The first 250 people, that's another reason to do it now. And to get in contact is so easy. You can either do it via the website, at the minute via the phones up until 3 a.m. if you're watching on +1, or you can text, which is the simplest way. So the choice is there.
Yeah, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV takes you straight through to the exclusive offers. There's a little form for you to fill in, very simple, very straightforward. You don't need any details, you don't need any identification, any forms with you. You're just registering for those offers and you're securing those prices. Team in the call centre are there right through to 3 a.m. 0333 600 2600, or texting is always the most popular on these evening shows.
So easy, isn't it? It's so easy, and you've done it. You've actually taken that first step. You text will to 66777.
The other way to get in touch, if you're used to using our website, you can go to our website, shopontv.co.uk, scroll down that homepage, and you will come to our on-screen partners. Keep going, there they are. And then when you see the Simpler Law logo, just click on there, and it'll take you through to those exclusive offers we've talked about. There's a form you can fill in that's really simple, really straightforward, and there you are, you've done. You've secured those offers that we've been talking about.
I'm rubbish at forms, but that's really easy. You can't go wrong with that, so please do not miss out on that. That's it. What a great way to start the new year. You've actually made sure you're going to get that will done. You've made sure you're going to get that lasting power of attorney. And if you have just joined us, you're joining us just at the end of the show, you can turn over to +1 and watch this last hour again. But do please understand that if you haven't written a legally binding will, sadly, you have got one. It's not one you want.
No, the government will fall into place, the rules of intestacy. And this is a very straightforward system, isn't it? If you haven't got a will, this is what happens.
Yeah, it's option A or option B. When you pass away, was it option A, you passed away with your own will that you made, so the last act on planet Earth is going to be yours, tailor-made for you and your family, unique to you, or option B, sadly, you didn't take that option. So you've ended up with option B, which is the rules of intestacy, which is a set of government rules which is now over 100 years old, that frankly doesn't care about you or your family. It's just a backstop, a default position to ensure there is a legal way to administer and distribute your estate. You don't want to die intestate.
And it's just a series of yes-no questions that basically follow your bloodline.
Yeah, you can see it starts with the one right at the top there that basically asks of the deceased were they married or in a civil partnership. So again, there's no common law husband and wife. There's no.
So though we've been together 35 years, and obviously all our family knows what's mine's Sean's, what's Sean's is mine. Yeah. That we'd fail on that first question because we
absolutely. And the thing that terrifies people and the thing that puts people in immediate denial is well, how can there be no provision for someone that's built a life together for 35
years?
years?
We could have had kids together, but it's still to each other, nothing.
You've got zero provision. An unmarried couple, there's no provision in the rules of intestacy.
And then if you've had children from different relationships and you all live together, that's even more complicated and upsetting.
It then becomes a lottery as to which parent passes away first if they've got children from previous relationships. Because the parent that dies first, if that goes to the surviving spouse under the rules of intestacy, when that surviving spouse then dies, so second death if you like, it will follow their bloodline and go to their children only, meaning the first parent that died, their children get nothing. And again, people are going, no, that's not right, and I'm sure that won't be the case. I promise you that's exactly the case. That's why we do these shows. If you want to remove all the ifs, buts, the maybes and the doubts, don't leave it to chance, because I promise you the rules of intestacy are not going to work for you, because we've never written a will that mirror the rules of intestacy, because it's got nothing to do with you or your family. Make your own will, and the hardest thing to do is send that text or pick up the phone. After that, I promise you'll find it actually quite easy dealing with us. But we can only help you if you send us that text or pick up the phone this evening.
Simpler Law make it so easy. They make it so affordable. Honestly, we dealt with Simpler Law for my mum's lasting power of attorney way before they worked with us here on Shop on TV. Became friends, really, because you sit down and have a sit-down chat conversation. And what you've got tonight is incredible prices, but you do need to secure these deals. I'd take a photo of that screen and just make sure you get in contact via the phones. Text Will to 66777 and you've secured whatever offer you want to go for.
It's not daunting, it's not frightening, it's just taking that first step and starting the process that's so important.
So
and
important.
those offers give you that extra 20% off. It's a new year, and what a great time to write a will.
And you'll never regret doing it.
No, never
You'll
regret
never regret
it. And what
doing
a great time to do it. January, done.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've actually succeeded
Tick in the box.
in something.
Stuff the gym. I'm still drinking, but I want to get my estate planning in place.
And what you've done is you've helped your family as well. It's your last gift to your family. You just don't know what's around the corner. So please do get in contact. Remember, the deals The price stays up until Friday at close of business, but do it now because Friday will come and go before you know it and you will have missed out, so do it right now.
Thank you so much for joining us. Got to say a huge thank you to you.
As always.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have your company and a pleasure to have your company at home as well. But take advantage right now of those fabulous offers from Simpler Law. We'll see you very soon.
Take care. See you later.